You, how have you been?
I've been pretty good actually. I mean, like I must admit that I've had a good weekend. I really enjoyed some of the live music from the gig streams sort of thing.
Oh yeah,
And
I saw the Bristol takeover at the weekend. That was
yeah,
good.
that was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, really great.
Apart from one thing, it did make me when I saw Rachel Dad's performance, it did make me want to run up and give her a hug.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
I know that obviously that she's been going through a bit of a must have been going through quite a tough time with Itchy being in Japan sort of thing. Must have
yeah.
been quite hard for her, you
I
know.
think it is really hard. Yeah, I mean, I guess anyone who's like living with their kids while their partner's away is, yeah, it's pretty full on.
And also the fact that obviously it must be like kind of really difficult with the communication side of things as well. Must make things really hard actually.
Yeah, yeah, it's not easy. Yeah, she's a trooper. She's
Yeah,
she's a soldier.
I know that's the thing is though, but at least I mean like what I felt with her is that it was very honest and so it was very like kind of her being like going, yeah, I may not be in my best of states because I've been going through this, and it's like, and actually, it's really refreshing to see someone be that honest.
Yeah, Rachel is really excellent for that as well. She's just so honest in sort of everything she does in her songwriting and yeah, when you speak to her.
Yeah, I mean, I find that also with her, there's like kind of, there's almost like similarities between like you, her, and Rosie in the way that you do approach songwriting for
Yeah,
me.
there's some sort of Venn diagram to be drawn, I think. You're probably right.
He's like, because I think that there's definitely like, there's something within hers where, especially on her last album, where it does touch on like the spirituality to a certain extent,
Yeah.
and actually that. So I did say this to her, like to her face, that I very much felt that it was very much like an uplifting feeling.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know,
it's true. She's an uplifter. And it's
yeah.
good because people I think are often shy to talk about that.
Hmm.
And and it's just really refreshing that
It's
that
also
she,
like
she
it's
does it.
also like great in amongst the world where you can get some really bleak singer-songwriters to have someone just singing about like the innocence of bouncing a ball.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And just the pleasure of the language of like the words and the repetition and stuff. It's
Yeah,
really great. She does it. She hits the nail on the head every time.
I think that I mean like, but I think there's also a certain extent there is that also within the way that you the stuff that you do with this as the kit as well. I think there is definitely a sense of that. I
Well,
mean,
yeah,
like,
I try and you know, have a bit of fun and be as honest as I can.
yeah, but it's like as if the way you tried to describe like for me the feeling of watching you guys play live is like almost being taken into slightly like a dream world.
Okay, good.
It's not like entirely detached from reality, but there's definitely something which like kind of I don't know quite how I'd put it into how I'd word it really, but there's definitely something there which makes me go, yeah, this makes me feel nice.
Yeah, I mean gigs, that's the good thing about gigs, isn't it? They can take you to sort of different places. Even
Yeah,
though everyone is all in the same room together, they can take you to a different place altogether, which I
yeah.
think is really great.
I think that's the thing is that that's the reason why for me music's well, especially live music's been great for my mental health.
Yeah.
It's been partly because of that, because like you can be in a room where you're united with people, but then also you can feel so many different emotions that that you may not necessarily be able to calculate or comprehend in a I don't know in normal life.
Yeah, and I feel like quite often we're sort of expected to be able to sort of articulate what we're feeling or explain it or something like that, but it doesn't work like that always. It's just
Mm.
the feeling is such a
Yeah.
sort of difficult thing to explain, and only the feeling can do that really. So yeah, yeah, music is something that does that to you. And it's
But,
nice at gigs because you're with all these people, but you're also
mm.
in your own experience. And I just love going to gigs on my own and
Yeah.
being there with everyone, but also being there like on my own, but with everyone. It's really great that all
Yeah.
these realities are possible at once.
Then
At a
also,
concert.
what's great about it sometimes is if you're feeling the same thing, then it
Yeah.
can be like kind of feeling like there's definitely something very positive out of like sometimes feeling quite emotionally overwhelmed.
Yeah, definitely. I think
Like
we need it.
Like sometimes, like I come out, like so I quite often go and whenever Low play Bristol, I'm nearly always watching them, and
Great.
they're a really emotionally overwhelming band,
Yeah.
and their whole thing is about like kind of. Well, I think they do it a lot through the Sonics. And I tend to find that actually that music as a language depends a lot on tone,
Yeah.
and I think um, yeah, so I tend to find that also that certain venues carry a certain atmosphere with them really.
Yeah, it's true. The sort of chemistry between the space and the sound and the frequencies, and then also the added element of the audience and their energy. It's a good alchemy. It's a good sort of
Yeah.
chemistry that happens.
I mean, like some of my favourite shows have ended up with like an absolute blubbering mess because of what. But then again, they've been shows which are just literally like kind of all that they push like sensory feelings.
Yeah, I agree. Me too. You just sort of, there's sort of buttons you didn't even know how to access,
Yeah,
but the music can access them, and then yeah, it all comes out.
and also it's like for instance, like I've watched a few people like someone like Dean Blunt who's literally like who specializes in making his audience feel as uncomfortable as possible.
Okay.
But then he's doing it to kind of ask sometimes some quite strategically challenging questions,
Yeah.
which are like about society and about like kind of do we think that we live in a fair society and stuff like that? And it's like, okay, he'll do it, but then he'll generally like kind of also which involve lots of drones and lots of strobe lights
Yeah.
sort of thing. And it's just like, okay, yep, I'm feeling slightly terrified by the end of this, but then I'm also like feeling kind of relieved.
Yeah, I think it's really important sort of communication, the fact that we can do that without words, written or spoken, that we can experience it, and then there are people that have the skill to sort of transmit the feeling and the messages. I
Yeah.
think it's really important to remember about that.
I think that it's also really important to like I sometimes tend to decide on what gigs I'm going to go to by
Yeah.
what emotion I'm feeling.
Yeah, exactly. How do you decide?
Yeah. So sometimes I'll like kind of go for something which could be challenging or could be like my version of comfort food. I
Yeah.
could go and see like kind of like a three-piece indie rock band sort of thing.
Would that be what would be the comfort food?
Probably like a three-piece indie rock band or like kind of like because you know that what you're going to get, or like kind of pop punk band, because then you know what
Yeah.
you're going to get from them is that you're going to get something positive, supportive. You know, like for instance, I would consider like people like who work for specialist subjects. A lot of their stuff which they put out is very comfort fooding.
Hmm.
It may not. It might sometimes be talking about like kind of quite negative things.
Right.
Like if in like they may be talking about like a lot about like kind of mental health issues or about like kind of you know, like kind of gender dysphoria and stuff like that. But actually, but there's something about the sound which just makes me feel like, yeah, it gives me like kind of fuck yeah, this is gonna power me through sort of thing.
Yeah, and it's important to talk about the sort of darker stuff and mix it with lightness sometimes, because that's how we can kind of access it and talk about it without getting totally bogged down or something.
Yeah, I mean, I find the best way to do that sometimes is by throwing in a bit of humor.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Humor is
like,
a really good tool for talking about like heavy stuff. I went to did you see Jojo Rabbit when it came out?
yes, I did.
Because I went to see the premiere when it came here in Paris, and there
Mm,
was a Q&A
yeah,
with Taika Waititi afterwards, and he puts it so well about yeah, how he uses humor and
mm.
what an important tool it is to sort of discuss stuff and put a message across, and you know, break down like people's barriers and disarm people and stuff. I think
And
it's
the other thing about it is that it also challenges people as well.
yeah, yeah,
In a really good
exactly.
way. Like obviously, I think of like being a teenager watching Brass Eye, for
Watching
instance.
what, sorry?
Brass Eye.
I don't know what brass eye is.
Of course, it was like a kind of Christopher Morris series. He did like it's basically like as if it was parodying the media.
Okay.
But he did like you know like how sometimes the media would do say sensationalistic reporting,
I mean, yeah.
especially in the 90s when we used to have like all those kind of like shows on ITV sort of thing.
Yeah.
Um, and basically, so each episode is like portraying the media's take on different things. So like, it'd be like kind of you end up getting banned because of like or like getting fined by the government because of like some of the things with that cutting.
Because how accurate it was.
Yeah, and actually like how
So it actually got banned, did it?
I think it did. Well,
Wow.
I was thinking like I was very like I know that um he got charged for something because like
Right.
one of the episodes is about paedophilia, and this is like okay, but actually both me and my mum watched it. We both had fits of hysterics because of actually because of what we saw was that it wasn't about necessarily like the paedophile, but it's more about like the stuff which
The
was
stuff around it
yeah,
and how people like deal with it. Yeah.
yeah, and so it's
Yeah.
like, and I think that yeah, I think it's a very important point that we can use art and humour to help diffuse things.
Yeah. Diffuse stuff. Think about stuff. Just process stuff. Because laughing, I mean, laughing is like it's another version of crying, isn't it? And you
Yeah,
know, it's all sort of discharge and like processing, letting stuff
it's
out. It's
like a
really
stress
important.
relief sort of thing,
Yeah.
and like I very much feel that. Yeah, I very much feel that, and I also feel that it's reminding me of the importance of how art can not only just make you feel good, but it's also there to sometimes make you feel something which is like slightly uncomfortable, maybe,
Yeah, we need it. We
or
need
like
to
truth
like
and history sort of thing.
to not shy away from that. We need to sort of go there.
And also, but then also at the same time, I think that there's definitely the wonderful ability of like being able to take some of that and then being able to take it off to another place.
Yeah.
And I think that like I'm just trying to think of like how to describe what I'm thinking in my head because this may rerun some of the conversation that we had on Friday actually.
What did you say? Sorry.
That this may rerun some of the conversation that we had on Friday
Oh yeah.
because of like because obviously like I think about like I was thinking about things like the environment and stuff like that over the weekend,
Mhm.
especially on my walks. I've been finding myself kind of either like sometimes live streaming shows from my phone. So like I live streamed your gig from the Royal Albert Hall.
Oh yeah. Out on a walk.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's beautiful. I was
Okay.
actually like kind of there with like just like blowing it out of my phone,
Oh
and I was kind of like trying to see if the birds were reacting to it. I
yes.
keep on thinking whether like things like the starlings, to know that there's whether how do they react to sound,
Yeah.
which I think is a really fascinating thing.
Yeah. There must be. There. It would be interesting to find some people that have sort of done studies on it and to see what they found out in terms of how things react. But also, it's just nice sort of being out in nature and sort of doing your own experiments and seeing what you think might be a reaction to what you're
Yeah,
doing, what you're playing them.
I know, and but it's also like to know that obviously some birds have like learned to copy things like mobile phone ringtones.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like
Yeah. Nokia birds.
yeah, exactly. You have like a group of like that's what maybe this should happen. The next Nokia advert would be like a whole load of birds doing like playing the Nokia ringtone.
Yeah, it would be interesting if a really famous ringtone was a particular bird song,
Yeah,
and then you'd get one bird learning another bird's song,
yeah.
and you could take it quite far, couldn't you? Teaching different
You also,
birds to sing each
yeah,
other's songs.
exactly. But then you can also do songwriting out of it because like if you think about it, it's like it is almost like educational because of like obviously like with a lot of like wildlife's instincts, it's about like kind of survival. And so sometimes some animals will be learning how to mimic
Yeah,
in that way.
yeah, the
Um,
mimicry.
yeah, I think that yeah, it's like it's really interesting when we're thinking about like kind of obviously being in lockdown, like how we do sometimes. I guess we have to go into like a fight or flight sort of situation.
Yeah, yeah, sort of decide. Yeah, decision time about how you're going to act about a certain situation. Yeah, it's true.
And then it's also like I mean like I guess that I've been lucky in sort of in like having a lot of people which I've surrounded myself with have also like to have like from over the years have shown like a certain degree of like empathy.
Hmm.
I think that that's a quality in art I think to have as well.
Yeah, I think it's really important that everyone cranks up their empathy a bit these days. We try and sort of help kids to grow up knowing how to tap into that,
Mm,
and then showing it to showing it to other people, even if they don't seem to be able to sort of tap into it themselves. I think we need to always remember to, yeah, just put ourselves in other people's positions a bit more.
yeah,
It's something that is really visibly lacking all the time, I think. You know, you look around and you can see it all the time. People forget to, I mean, obviously it's hard. You can't always be thinking about someone else's.
no,
You've also got to deal with your own shit.
yeah, of course,
but
yeah,
but yeah, it's so important to put yourself in someone else's place. Really
but
important.
also think the thing is though, is that I guess that it also like kind of I guess it's about like kind of maybe learning to understand cultural divides as well.
Yeah, definitely. I
I
mean,
think that there's huge cultural divides, like not just like internationally, but also within our own countries. I think.
yeah, within one postcode there can be like huge huge cultural divides, and it would be great if there was just a little bit more reaching across
Mm.
and sort of, you know,
But then,
windows into each other's
but it
worlds.
is really weird with sometimes when some of them have been like kind of quite secretive in many ways.
Yeah,
So I
because
guess
people have a right to be secretive, I guess.
yeah,
I mean, definitely, of course, people have a right to be secretive,
yeah. But then
but
like
for the
when
right reasons, I guess. You don't want it. You shouldn't be coming out of fear. It should come out of something unfear related, hopefully.
yeah, I mean that's I guess that's what I was kind of trying to allude to sort of thing. 'Cause I guess that when I was a teen, I guess that speaking for myself, I came from even though I came from like kind of quite a relatively kind of I guess comfortable-ish upbringing. Even though my parents weren't particularly rich, they basically managed to buy this house in the little village and um, basically kind of like which we managed to get like expanded almost into almost like semi-mountain sized sort of thing. But that was through their sheer hard work, but also that in the village that there was that it was a very like hippie sort of left field sort of space,
Okay.
and so we had well, there's definitely like we had a few families who came in who were like immigrant families.
Mhm.
So like there was the Kosovan family which came and lived in the valley for a little while. There was like
Yeah.
several families who had adopted, like kind of African kids sort of thing.
And
Um,
how did the sort of, and was the general vibe of the community open and welcoming of people that would come and move into the village?
I think so, especially of our part of the community, it definitely was. I mean,
Yeah,
like
that's good.
my parents' basically doors are basically always like doors open.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
good.
anyone who wants to come and be friends with us, be friends with us. Anyone who doesn't want to be friends with, go somewhere else.
Yeah, they don't have to walk through the door.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, like, and I guess that I'm really lucky in having that because also that, like, for instance, we used to sometimes have tradespeople come and live with us.
Yeah,
So
okay.
like, you used to get like journeyman builders sort of thing.
Ah, who were just sort of in the area for a job.
Yeah, they just like literally be walking from one job to another.
It's great.
And
I'd love that. It would be the dream, wouldn't it, to have a sort of a big enough house that you can just have people come and
we
stay.
had people coming and working on the house
Yeah, okay,
sort of thing.
great.
So we had like
Yeah.
so we
And
had
then
like
they stayed as well. Were they staying while they were working on the house?
I think so. I'm just trying to
Great.
remember. It's like it was quite a while ago.
Yeah,
But we had
understandable.
like yeah, we're talking about at least 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So I would have been probably about 7 or 8 years old. But we had this guy called Ralph, who's an Austrian carpenter,
Great.
and I think that he was just basically traveling the land, going from effectively just from job to job. Literally, I think he's literally doing it on his almost by foot sort of thing.
Right.
So it's almost like kind of working through all the little villages, and he's like kind of stop off like kind of left, right, and centre, do and obviously like do work in exchange for lodging,
Yeah.
sort of thing, which is fair enough.
Yeah, it's a good sort of old school system that you don't see happening very much these days.
No, and I think that's a bit of a shame in some ways. Is that I think the term like kind of like gypsy's got a bit of a negative kind of connotation, sort of thing. Um, I think whether that's which I think is pretty wrong in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel like there's so many different ways to live, and moving from place to place and sort of temporary addresses, or as it were, or no fixed addresses.
Yeah,
It just makes a lot of sense for a lot of people, and I think it's a really sort of beautiful and admirable way of living. If you Because a lot of people wouldn't be able to hack it.
yeah, it's true, and I think that I guess that I spent part of my life in semi in the commune,
Yeah.
sort of thing. Well, yeah, which was pretty good. Because like my parents would run enlightenment intensives.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So like when I say that my parents were like kind of basically like the first were like new age hippies, they really were.
Brilliant.
And
That's
they
good.
were like,
You got lucky with your parents there, Jeff.
yeah, I know. To be honest, I got really lucky. So they've been, I put them through hell and high water. And they're still there for me.
That's great.
You know, like like they've been together for like 40, 50 years. I think it's coming up.
Impressive. Yeah, it's pretty amazing, isn't it, when relationships start busting through all those decades.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, I thought they were together for a long time before they were married. They were together for like 3 months.
Oh, really?
But
Oh,
yeah,
wow. And then they got married 3 months later.
yeah.
Great.
I think it's partly that well, it was like one of those kind of like I guess it's partly like a relationship of love, but also a relationship of and understanding a lot of it, but then also I guess the relationship of like the effectiveness of dad having the house and my mum having the furniture.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then it's like, so it's like, I wouldn't necessarily label it entirely convenience, but there's definitely something there where they had to cooperate with each other.
Yeah, you sort of follow the signposts that seem to be pointing to a matching path or something.
Yeah, and then like I think they decided to get married part just as early as they did was because of my granddad was going off to work for the British Royal Legion in Kenya,
Oh, wow.
and so it's like yeah, so yeah, he's like one of the kind of the peacekeepers sort of thing. I
Okay.
think is what his job was, and so like yeah, so my mum decided right if we're gonna get married, I want to be married whilst he's here.
Yeah, yeah, it's thoughtful to
Yeah,
like include people that are going to want to be part of it.
yeah, and then so like they got married. Yeah, it would be about nearly 40 years ago, sort of thing.
Because were your folks
1979.
from the same town?
Um, no, they weren't actually. They but they met. I think they met at university,
Okay.
and
Which
then
one?
like yeah, so they're basically like so they're both students,
Hmm.
and in Milton Keynes, I think, which
Nice.
is actually where I was born.
Great, Milton Keynes. There's a
Yeah,
venue in Milton Keynes called the Stables, I think,
yeah,
and I always like thinking about it because that's my name.
I know. Yeah, you could see Kate Stables and the Stables,
The Stables, yeah,
couldn't you? You could see like a kind of like a live album.
yeah, exactly. Get my whole family in.
Yeah, I mean, I nearly did Milton Keynes for the Independent Venue Week tour.
Ah,
Actually.
great.
Um,
Because where
but
did you do for the Independent Venue Week tour?
well, we did. I think that well, we did like as I said, like Leeds, Newcastle. Yes, we did Leeds at the Hyde Park Book Club.
Yeah,
Big shout out to Tony. With come play with me records.
great.
Absolutely amazing.
Good one,
Um,
Tony.
we got yeah, we did Newcastle, the Clooney. This is my first time in being there.
Brill.
And it was really good to Nadine Shah was playing, and she's always someone that I find really calming to talk to.
Yeah, she's
She's
great.
basically like, well, it's basically like if I just chat to her and she just babbles. And it's like, yep, it's like that's definitely helping me kind of feel a lot better about myself.
Okay, good, 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 good.
Then we did the Sheffield Red Mill.
Yep, nice
Um,
historical one.
yeah, man, that's a beautiful venue. I mean, like, yeah, I definitely felt like a kid on Gobstoppers going through those doors. I mean, I kind of, because Steve Lamack was doing the whole BBC Six tour as well. So the first two
What, at
nights,
the same time as you doing?
yeah,
Okay,
because he was
great.
both in Newcastle and Sheffield.
Yeah.
I did semi threaten him that I'd probably be stood outside his bus, sending him heckles via Twitter.
That's good. From the outside of the bus.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
exactly. Hey, just like go and stand there, and just be like, right, okay, right, I just like kind of listening in on my phone.
Very nice, very nice.
But yeah, the thing is like, I mean, that was really good. But we also stayed in the scariest flat I've ever been in Sheffield.
Oh yeah, a scary flat. What in
Oh,
what way? Spooky scary or dangerous scary?
it was kind of spooky, scary, and like kind of, I don't know, it was just really weird.
Okay.
It was like, I mean, I couldn't sleep properly that night because I kept hearing people shouting and like an argument in the street outside.
Oh yeah, that's never
Like,
very nice for
so it's a
sleep.
bit like, yeah, so it's a bit like, so the walls were quite thin, but it was full of like this weird sci-fi chic, as I call it. So it's
Sci-fi
like,
sheets.
like it's like 70s fake gold.
Ah, yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
quite sci-fi. Bit
yeah,
sort of Barbarella.
yeah, kind of. It was kind of like verging on that, but then also like there was like this stank of smoke. You feel like,
Smoke?
yeah, just like it was like freezing cold. You clearly tell that someone's been smoking in there because the
Oh
whole
right.
place just stank of the smell of smoke.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then like
Hangs
the
around.
bathroom was like the setting for a Spandau Ballet video,
Okay.
just because it was like so. That kind of like really cheesy hyacinth bouquet sort of thing. Where, yeah,
Mrs.
it was,
Bouquet.
yeah, it really was. It was just like,
Did you take any pictures? Did you do any
oh
documentation?
yeah, we did. We literally, me and Sybil, who were staying together, we just for that night, we just like in fits of hysterics for about 50 minutes. Just like, I mean, I was too scared to even get in my bed because I was scared of the gold which lay underneath it.
Yeah.
Because it was like, I
Yep.
had like,
It's always good to bring a sleeping bag
yeah,
on
it was like,
tour.
yeah, yeah. I think that's probably good advice actually. It's like try and bring a sleeping bag from
Yeah.
next time. I
Good
mean, like,
policy in life, actually. Just, always be ready
yeah,
to have a kip with your sleeping bag.
yeah, that's so true. But the thing is, though, the actual advert for the place did look pretty good.
Yeah.
It's just like when you got there, it's like, oh my god,
So
this
often
is
the case. The advertising is one thing and then the reality is another.
yeah. But then also like they had these weird light settings as well.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
they had like 5 different lamps in one.
5 lamps in one?
Yeah, it was like this, like kind of like yeah, it's like yeah, it was like it was like I don't know quite how to describe it, but it was like one of these things where it had like 3 different rings of lights, and
And
it's like
loads of knobs for the different combinations?
yeah, I think so.
Great.
Hey,
Spaceship lamps.
we could have, if we thought about it, turned it into a party. It's like flash of different lights. It's like,
The disco tree.
yay! But not on the tree, but actually on the ceiling.
Oh, actually on the ceiling. Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
god. I was imagining some sort of like standing lamp with loads of different stuff coming off it.
It was kind of like that, but actually on the ceiling, it was
Just
just like
hanging off the ceiling. Oh,
it was,
great.
yeah, everything was like really bad 1970s decor. So it's like
Excellent.
it was like
Well, for some people that'd be a selling point.
even the artwork was full of gold.
Was it great?
Yeah, they had these kind of bits of these
Hi,
little.
Mona.
Hello.
Sorry, Jeff. Someone's just leaving now. I just had to say goodbye.
Ah, cool. No worries. Yeah, but no, but even all the artwork was full of fake, horrible gold.
Yeah, how interesting. The gold, the Midas touch.
Yeah, no. Jesus Christ, I literally did feel like as if I turned into King Midas by accident. Maybe for all the wrong reasons, though. But then again, that's just like King Midas' stories, like story of like what you wish for, isn't it?
Yep,
And don't take
true,
advantage of
exactly.
people.
And
But
what a curse
yeah, I know.
wealth can be sometimes.
I think the thing is, though, is that it's like obviously like through these times, it's going to affect a lot of people's like mental well-being.
Hmm.
And the thing is, though, with that's completely indiscriminate of age and gender and like kind of whether people are well off or not.
Yeah.
Sometimes. So I think like especially with things like autism, I think there's definitely links to genetics. I mean, so I know that there's definitely like an autistic strain in my family.
Okay.
I think that I think that well, I know that I had a really disabled uncle who's
Hang on, I'm just going to get my headphones so I can hear you properly.
uh,
Oh, where are they? Oh, here.
yeah, sorry if you haven't sorry for
No, it's
babbling
good. I just want to make sure that I totally
understand it.
am definitely hearing what you're saying. There we go. Okay. Fuck.
Yeah, so yeah, it's the same that I think that for me, I think autism's definitely got like a genetical link to it.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, because of like basically, I think my gran on my mum's side may have been autistic.
Right.
Um, Partly because of the way that she's treated, and then partly because of the way that she treated people.
Interesting. Yeah.
And then also I have like a really severely disabled uncle
Okay.
who I haven't seen in about since the late 90s.
Yeah.
So that's going like 20 odd years.
Okay.
Um, but I was saying that I guess that I'm not quite sure what I'm getting at really, but
That's all right. Any conversational direction is a good direction.
yeah, I mean like I guess that there's a lot of people. I think that because I was brought up also around a lot of autistic people.
Hmm.
Because also just down, literally down the road from Horsley, there was Ruskin Mill.
And what is Ruskin Mill?
Oh, it's like a big outsider kind of college for like
Okay.
education, outside education
Okay.
in a
Great.
sense for people who've either got autism or they struggle to deal with their family or like there's like behavioural issues sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, or they've had like addiction issues, stuff like that. So like, or like troubled children sort of thing.
Yes. People who could do with a bit of um, outside activity therapy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's basically how it operates. It was huge. It was like, so like, I think that definitely helped me as if in not seeing necessarily entirely autism as a barrier.
Yeah. It's not
Because
a barrier.
yeah, so I just saw them as people. I didn't really judge them so much for what they were going through, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because I just saw them as like, okay, yeah, they're people. They may have some slight challenges, sort of thing, but they're definitely people.
Because everyone's got their own situation and their own reality, haven't they? Whether it's sort of whether people feel like they can see it or not,
Mm.
and or you. I mean, it's just good to remember just not to jump to any conclusions. Just to respect people and their sort of path and and their personality.
Yeah, I think also that I mean, I think obviously like music can definitely do that, as if in like reach out to people.
Yep,
I
true.
mean, like I look at most of the people well, most people that seem to get idolised are all people who are kind of like technically outsiders.
Right, interesting. Yeah.
I think that I include myself as if in like in saying that because I think
Hmm.
that well, I mean like I think for most I think like as if in like I idolise Daniel Johnson.
Yeah.
Well, I idolised because like partly because I saw him as being like this outsider figure, but then also I saw traits of myself in there.
Yeah.
I
It's
think,
powerful when you do see, yeah, links between your own experience and what someone else's experience. It's a really powerful thing to sort of have that recognition.
yeah, and I think that I mean, like I kind of self-diagnosed myself as being autistic before I was given an official diagnosis.
Yeah.
Um, Partly because of my parents were quite involved with like an activist theatre company, although they
Okay.
supported like an activist theatre company who were like just made up of a couple of neighbours in Horsley, and
Great.
one of the plays they did centered around a couple of characters who had Asperger's,
Okay.
and I watched it and I was like, hang on, I've got every. I was watching it. I was like, hang on, I've got every single one of those traits. I was like, tick, tick, tick. The obsessive, like sort of the obsessive compulsive tendencies, the kind of like as if in those certain things where where like one of the characters would get stuck on a certain subject and be like, "Yep, that's me."
Yeah. And
Um,
how old were you when you saw it and were making these connections?
I think it's just like I was thinking about how I behave, and then I was like,
Yeah.
I was probably about 18, 19,
Yeah.
maybe a bit earlier than that, I think.
Uh-huh.
But I definitely was well aware that, I mean, I've been well aware since like I was 12, 13 years old that I wasn't quite like the other kids.
Right. Okay.
Um, I think that's partly through like the education, through like going through education and actually finding some parts of learning a lot harder than other parts.
Yeah.
And like even at primary school, I'd have to have some special needs person come in and actually show me how to do joined up handwriting.
Yeah.
Um, but then also like I guess that I've always been a daydreamer.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah,
Good thing to be.
yeah, I think it's a good thing to be actually.
Yeah.
I mean, like, does that like does that? Do you ever think about like like seeing your songs as like a daydream?
Yeah, I think so. Because I mean, daydream is quite a nice broad um concept, isn't it?
Hmm.
Because I guess yeah, it's sort of a thought process or a thought experiment or just you know thinking about anything. And I feel like my songs are that a bit. They're just sort of exploring stuff inside my head, but then turning it into sound or whatever, whether it's like words or music or both. So I guess that is a daydreamy thing, yeah. I wonder if I feel like in terms of like being a daydreamer, I probably had different times of my life where I've been more prone to daydreaming than others.
Hmm.
I feel like I'm not good at concentrating. And
Yeah.
so sometimes that means that sometimes my lack of concentration manifests itself in me daydreaming.
Yeah.
And sometimes my lack of concentration means that I can't daydream because I can't sort of concentrate on what I'm daydreaming about. So it's just, it's just, I guess, yeah, different people's relationship with their brain noise. Their,
Yeah. Which of course will be very heightened at the moment.
yeah, a lot
I
of
think.
brain noise at the moment. I
Yeah.
mean, I hope everyone is managing their brain noise okay. I've
Yeah.
started doing loads of whenever I'm on the phone, or even when I'm not on the phone. It's really helpful just to do like repetitive drawing, just
Hmm.
phone doodling basically. And
I do that.
and it's just so nice just filling a space with pen. Just that's the only goal, just like filling up the space with the ink that you're enjoying, and that's been a really good brain calmer for me.
Yeah, I used to do that a lot. I mean, I still do sometimes when I'm on the phone. I still
Yeah,
try and Google, but then also I find I do that in secondary school as well.
yeah.
And I eventually find myself drawing roller coaster rides.
Because for me it helped me listen as well. Like you're in a class, and if you're just like doing something with your hands
Yeah,
that doesn't require you to think, I find it easier to sort of listen to what's being told.
it's like kind of focusing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I
Have you
guess,
still Do you still have any of your roller coaster drawings?
oh no, I burned them all. I
Did
literally,
you?
yeah, it's basically when I did my last of my GCSEs, I basically decided to have a huge celebratory bonfire.
Okay.
Literally threw all my secondary school stuff on because of like I had a bit of an up and down experience of secondary school, so
Right.
with like the bullying and all that sort of side of things. But
So it felt
um,
good to do like a ceremonial
yeah,
cleaning the slate.
it was like that's over.
Yeah.
I mean, like I pretty much did my first my first festival on my own, was like when I got my GCSE results.
Okay, which one was it?
Reading Festival '99.
Wow, quite a hefty one, Reading.
Oh yeah, of course it was. Kind of like it was kind of that's the go-to GCSE party kind of like festival is Reading.
Reading in 99. I wonder if I knew anyone who was at Reading in 99.
I mean, like
I probably did. Who knows? But yeah,
it was. I think there was
I probably
definitely
had some mates that were sort of, next to you in a crowd somewhere.
probably or like the thing is, I wasn't at that time. I wasn't necessarily so adventurous, kind of like
Right.
going necessarily so far down the front.
Yeah, fair
But,
enough.
I mean, like I remember seeing like Atari Teenage Riot
Okay.
on like 10:30 on the Saturday morning. I think it was.
Great.
But
10:30 Saturday morning.
yeah, I know. But it's a perfect wake-up call. But then there's also like there's that mixture of like as I said with some acts getting into them because of being like both enthralled and terrified at the same time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
it's something
It's
like that. It's like yeah,
bit of an overwhelming scenario. But
yeah.
who else was playing in '99 at Reading? Do
It
you
was
remember?
Red Hot Chili Peppers were the Sunday night headliners.
Cool.
Yeah, they were okay. They weren't great. Blur played.
Nice.
Blur were one of the headliners. I can remember seeing. Um, is it John Spencer Blues Explosion?
Okay. Great.
Um, I'm trying to remember because like it's obviously it's quite a while ago.
Yeah.
News when News were really small, playing on like the introducing tent sort of
Oh
thing.
wow. Yeah. And look
I
at them
remember.
now. They've sort of got stadium shows with
Yeah,
drones.
it's literally it's almost ridiculous, isn't it? It's like they've turned it into like this century's version of ELP, haven't they?
Tell me what ELP stands for.
Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Oh yeah. Yeah, okay.
Sorry. No, it's a bit ridiculous prog bands, but all they need to do now is just get out of the knives and start stabbing keyboards.
Yes.
And
People.
I think actually maybe what they should do is they should start stabbing drones, having
Yeah.
drones like playing different notes and just like put the knives in them.
Yeah. Or just
Yeah,
like picking off the drones.
yeah. But also, I can also remember seeing stuff like Sabado played
Oh, great.
early in the afternoon. I remember Sigvidal, like the hardcore band.
Okay, haven't heard of them.
They were really good.
Yeah,
I can remember seeing like a really like insane Irish band called Cyclefly.
great.
His singer was like definitely one of those kind of Iggy Pop style kind of frontmen, where
Excellent.
it was just like okay, he was literally I think he ended up scaling the height of the tent and almost like kind of jumping right up of it sort of thing.
Brilliant. That's the
It's
way to
kind of
do
like
it.
yeah, he kind of like he definitely had that thin wiriness to him. And
Yeah.
was doing all the flips and stuff like that, and it's like okay,
And
um,
have you ever seen Iggy Pop play?
yes, I have.
Where was it? Oh,
Glastonbury 2007
oh, great.
with the Stooges,
Brilliant.
which was genuinely that was generally one of those shows which I could not sleep afterwards.
Yeah, still
Just so
buzzing.
excited.
Great.
And I had to get up early the next morning, so I was doing litter picking.
Oh, right. What did you do? Just stay up, just push on through, or just sort of,
Well, I just kind of crash out for a couple of hours.
yeah,
I had to, so like that was a Saturday night, so it wasn't even the last night of Glastonbury.
yeah, emergency cat nap before the litter picking shift?
Yeah, sort of thing. Like I think I got back to my tent about maybe just like 1 in the morning.
Okay.
But like I pretty much slept through till about 5, so I'd start work at 6.
Yeah, oh my God, that is early. But what a lovely time to be up at Glastonbury, 6 a.m.
Yeah, but then no, it's true. It's like you can get all sorts of like interesting people.
Yeah, definitely.
And
And the light is nice. Really good. Glastonbury's a good one for the early morning sessions.
yeah, I mean that year wasn't so good because it was really wet.
Was it? Okay, it was a
It was
pisser.
absolutely, it was absolutely teeming it down with rain.
6 a.m. in a
Yeah,
swamp.
but basically, the thing is, the litter picking got me the ticket, right?
Yeah, it's great. It's a good system that I think it does. I think it's brilliant. And I just think that everyone should sort of do some litter picking in their life.
Yeah,
I feel like it's an important thing to remember about because people just sort of our relationship with rubbish and litter and who deals with it and where it goes is so squiffy. I think it's really important to
I mean,
to do that.
I felt kind of quite embarrassed about it kind of yesterday, actually seeing some of the litter returning, and it's like, no, we're supposed to be like teaching ourselves to be more protecting or looking after areas, sort of thing,
Yeah, yeah,
instead of just like kind of trashing them again.
yeah. It is. It is. It's a tricky one, isn't it?
It
But what was I going to say? I just wanted to know, where is your favourite place to camp at Glastonbury? Do you have a favourite like neighbourhood?
Well, I was basically because I was doing litter picking, so I was camping in the crew camping area.
Okay, great.
I was always camping like somewhere which was really safe. Because obviously,
Yeah,
like got like a big festival like that, there's like likelihood of tents being ripped open and stuff like that, and
yeah,
like
and just sort of falling on people, just jumping on tents or like
yeah.
yeah, ransacking,
So it's like
pillaging.
so if I ever get given like the opportunity of like camping somewhere securely, I'm gonna
Yeah,
take it. You know,
yeah, very
at the
wise.
festival, I think that it's just like just because it's even like at the smallest festival sort of thing.
Yeah,
So that that I can know that I can store some of my stuff. Okay,
yeah,
I don't really take much in the way of valuables. Like sometimes you see people like queue up to festivals and they got so much stuff that they don't really need.
yeah,
Like I remember to like turning up to festival and like you'd see like kids literally taking an entire kitchen with them. It's like you're not
yeah. It's
that.
it's it's strange, isn't it? And then sadly, quite often they just leave it, which I think
Yeah.
is really upsetting.
Whereas the only things I take is pretty much a tent, clothes, and some food.
Yeah, exactly.
Like maybe a sleeping bag as well.
Yeah,
Because
useful.
sometimes it depends on if I can be asked to undo the sleeping bag, whether I'll actually get in the sleeping bag,
Yeah, there's
whether
the
I'll just
sleeping
throw
bag
myself on
again.
the floor.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do get a little bit worried about being cold at night though. I love sleeping in a tent,
Mm.
but I don't like it when I'm just lying awake freezing. So yeah, I usually probably bring more layers than I need to just because I'm worried about being
Yeah.
cold.
But then also the other thing is that for me is that I just don't get undressed. So literally
Yeah,
just throw myself on the floor.
exactly. You don't need to. It's great. You just sort of lie down, get up, get
Yeah.
out, have the
No.
day, lie down again.
Obviously change the underwear because I'm like
Or not. I mean,
yeah.
like it's
I mean,
fine.
I mean that's the one thing. Like, I'm not always so great like the greatest of standards, but that's definitely one thing which I really always do. Like every day, you know, like, but it's like it's for instance, like so quite often like Green Man, I get like trench foot
Oh yeah,
on the
Green Man
Sunday.
is often a real slushy one, isn't it?
Yeah, I love it, but it's definitely a bit of a definitely it can be a bit of a slush fest.
Is it true that there's only been one ever that isn't that where it hasn't rained?
No, there's been more than one.
There's been more than one. Okay,
I think
because I've
I was that one which where it definitely didn't rain, but
okay,
then it's like a steaming hot summer.
yeah,
And there's definitely been some where it hasn't rained.
okay,
I mean, like, okay, there was one where they had like the mini thunderstorm on the Thursday, and then it's really sunny the rest of the weekend.
okay. So that kind of counts as it not raining. It's true. Yeah,
Yeah,
if you get a good couple of days in a row.
for the first, but actually it was like a mini thunderstorm on the Thursday afternoon, so it was before the festival really
Before it all
started.
kicked off. Yeah,
So, I mean, I know my friends got absolutely drenched in it because they were setting up their tents.
but then they had the weekend to dry off.
Yeah, exactly. It was
Yeah,
like the rest of it was like really sunny, but
yeah,
I think it's just because of it's got a slightly unpredictable microclimate.
yeah.
Actually,
It's true.
not last year, but the year before actually was really dry as
Okay.
well. So that was it had like a few specks of like kind of hazy rain, but whereas it wasn't like kind of like an absolute deluge which I have experienced there,
And
and
there's
like
no sort of mud lakes or anything.
no. And actually, to be honest, I think Greenland's actually one of the better festivals at managing for extreme weather.
Yeah, they're just ready for it. They know that it rains a lot in Wales. We need
Yeah,
to sneeze.
but
Oops, gone.
also, I think that they because of also having had it in the past when it did pretty much sink into the ground, that they were like, yeah, it's like a wake up call sort of thing.
Yeah, now we're gonna be ready every time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's like, I mean, to be honest, I think the most extreme festival weather I've experienced in the UK would have to be the past couple of standing cooling festivals
Ah,
in North Hertfordshire.
yes. Okay, okay.
And oh god, we had like I think it was one time last year when we had we had three different types of storm on like
Three
two
different types
days.
of storm? What
Yeah.
are the three different, what were they?
Well, we had like, well, we had like, I think it's space for 24 hours, but we had two electrical storms, so like
Okay.
lightning, and then hurricane.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, like, I was lucky that my tent was still remained there. They
Yeah,
were lucky that they still actually to allow the festival to
they
even
could
happen.
carry
'Cause
on.
yeah, because I mean, it was just like, this is amazing, but then also this is completely terrifying. I mean, like, they had like, they had to shut down the site on the Saturday three times.
Wow.
Twice, actually? Yeah, it was twice. There's like one mini storm, and then it's like, oh no, here we go. Here comes the absolute.
I can't even imagine how stressful it must be, like being in charge of the festival and that sort of stuff happening.
Yeah,
That
especially
would
also
that would
like running,
finish me
like being
off.
the stage manager and stuff like that, and having
Yeah.
to decipher between the artists as well, because they literally had to haul the artists up as well.
Yeah, so stressful.
And then like, but then they had to like kind of renegotiate everything. So they had, but like luckily Paloma Faith, who was headlining, she basically just said to all the other acts that they can still go on. We'll just do half hour.
Yeah, okay, that's good to think of the other artists. That's
Yeah, especially
decent.
if some of them had like kind of come like quite far to come and play for them, sort of thing.
Yeah, because you do go far. It's true. What's the furthest away you've ever gone to for a gig or a festival? What's the furthest you ever travelled?
Barcelona,
Barcelona,
from Paris
Primavera.
down. Yeah,
Great.
exactly. I think the first time I went to Barcelona, Robin Allender played with
Okay,
Jan Tiersen.
great.
That was also gives me like a kind of that also gives me like another thunderstorm story.
What, there was thunderstorms at that one too?
Yeah, on the Sunday,
Oh
like
wow.
when Robin Allender was playing the closing event,
Yeah.
he was in Jan Tiersen's backing band, and I remember like I'd managed to literally run to the nearest corner shop and grab like literally the last trolley.
The last umbrella in
Yeah,
town.
yeah, literally just like kind of because I was like, right, okay, my parents are packing me off, going, oh no, 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 it's not going to rain there. It's
Yeah,
like,
not in Barcelona.
yeah, but when it does come down, boy, it really does come down.
Oh my
Um,
God, yeah.
it was like raindrops like hailstone size, and
Incredible.
like kind of it was like Richard Hawley and Jan Tiersen
Right.
playing in front of the Arc de Triomphe,
Wow.
you know, and which like kind of so it's an absolutely massive strip,
Uh-huh.
and it's just like it was freaking amazing. I mean, like the house fencing ended up getting ripped up by the locals to try and form shelter.
Right.
But otherwise, I'd heard the rumbling of thunder and went, "Look, I need shelter now."
Yeah, well done for finding the last brolly. Where
Yeah,
does everyone stay at Primavera? Is it a camping festival or is it accommodation?
it's accommodation.
Sort yourself
Like,
out. Oh, yeah.
it's mostly like a city festival. Well, it's kind of like it's partly a city festival
Okay.
and partly quite a lot outside. But the thing is, that it's not on grass. It's entirely on concrete.
Ah, okay.
So it is pretty much like a sort of like so. For instance, they'd have the main part of the festival out on a out kind of like near the beach, but just along from there. It's like a
Yeah.
huge like this huge flat concreted area. And then like they have their own like kind of mini beach in there as well.
And what is it? What is that area used for when it's not being a music festival?
I don't know actually. I haven't really thought about it, but it's definitely
Interesting.
just like along from the docks. So I think it's partly to do with like docking or parking or something maybe.
Industry stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like sort of the usual thing which you see like background being used for.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's also that they've got like it's near there where the aquarium is as well. Or it's like quite
Okay.
just on. I think it's all like I think it's aquarium or there's some sort of like kind of like
Attraction.
yeah, but there's definitely like a huge museumy thing right next to it, which they use
Hmm.
for like an indoor venue.
Okay,
It's
great.
got like a 3,000 seater theatre. So
Nice.
when they have all the like a lot of the acoustic stuff or like avant-garde, experimental sort of stuff, and it all happens in the theatre.
Oh, that's nice.
And yeah, I've seen some amazing shows in there.
Great.
I saw some of our orchestra play there. That was really special.
Who did you say? Sorry.
Sun Ra
Sun
Orchestra.
Ra. Oh wow. When was that?
That was like about 3 years ago.
Okay.
There wasn't actually Sun Ra, but it was
It was the orchestra.
with Marshall Allen, who's like
Okay.
95 years old.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and that was really beautiful and really dreamlike and kind of trippy.
Great.
Which is kind of what you want from the kind of like Sun Ra from the Sun Ra's backing band.
Yep, it's true. That's always nice to get. And when you go to like Primavera, do you ever see people that you only see there, like recognize them from
Yep.
times before?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
great. I love that. That's
It's a
brilliant.
truly international festival. So I've met people from Italy there. I've met people from Chile. There's a few people
Wow.
that I made friends from Germany.
Mhm.
Who are like in Sweden as well. Some of them also come to some of the UK festivals like End of the Road as well
Okay.
and Green Man, because there's quite a bit of crossover between those two festivals.
Right.
Also, I'd say that there's people which I've met from Belgium, Holland, Dubai.
It's so great.
Um,
The
but I think it's just
international
like,
connections.
well, I think that's the thing is that that's what we forget about actually. Art has the ability to cross cultural borders
Yeah.
and actually make things much more like kind of it's like art has the ability to empathize
Yeah.
and to teach people about like kind of different things.
Yeah, and about each other.
Yeah, so I mean, I've always found that I've got quite a lot of education through listening to music. I think
Yeah.
it's like you look at obviously some of the artists like Public Enemy, for instance. Like a lot of people weren't actually talking about like the socialist history
Yeah,
until
it's
like
true.
especially from their background. It's like okay, they were educating kids about Malcolm X, about like Martin Luther King, and about like the human rights movement because it wasn't being taught in the schools.
Yeah, which is sort of so crazy. Just
Yeah,
thinking about the fact that that wasn't taught in schools. It's it's a relief. I mean, it's brilliant that people decide to teach about it through their music,
yeah. And
things
then
like that.
also it kind of I guess also like we can also ask questions about how our own lifestyles. I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
So
because often art it can be a sort of a bit of a mirror to sort of make you reflect a bit on how you do things.
mm, also I think that it's obviously like an outlet for emotion sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, like I guess I found that through sometimes doing like the drawings at gigs.
Yeah, yeah, of course, the geek drawings.
Yay! I've got this picture here again.
Oh yeah, the Crofters' Rights.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, very nice. I love it.
Yeah, I love it as well. I mean, that show was particularly quite moving for me, actually.
It was a nice one. I like I I still I still always just refer to that place as the Croft.
Yeah, well, it is to be honest, because it's ingrained in our history in the way that that we refer. That, I mean, I still refer to it as well as Croft as well.
Yeah, really great spot.
It's
Good
great, but
memories.
yeah, it's obviously like the people who own that now own the exchange,
Okay.
and like so it's like so Fat Paul and like Paul Horlick and Matt Lockridge and like kind of all the people who used to own the craft are the same people who run the exchange.
Okay, I didn't realise it was the same team. That's
Yeah, pretty
good.
much is. Yeah, which I think is really great. So also they've really embraced the whole community down there.
Yeah, they're decent guys.
Yeah, and it's like if but also they've really embraced a lot of like kind of like the outsider movement as well.
Yeah,
So people who have like from the LGBT background, people who are from like kind of like the trans as well. They've been really like supportive of like my friends who've been putting on events there,
that's great.
and it's always been a really welcoming environment.
Yeah.
But it's also helped that all of them are in bands themselves.
Yeah, I think it does help when you're running a venue. I think if you get regular experience or if you've had regular experience being on the other side and like being in bands and coming in and out doing
Yeah,
gigs. I think again it's that thing of bit of empathy, bit of knowing what it's like for someone else because so many venues are just someone's had a business plan to have a
yeah,
venue and they don't actually realise all the different human elements that make it work and make it sort of a vibrant place.
like community as well.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
that's the reason why I love the venues, which I do love, is because a lot of them do embrace a lot of like to certain levels, embrace a lot of the things about like the importance of the atmosphere and the importance of being able to support people.
Yeah, just the importance of community
And so
because
like obviously I put the Exchange up there, the Trinity, that's a
yeah,
beautiful venue, and like people who run the Trinity are amazing. Like
yeah,
the Louisiana, I think the Louisiana is always going to be special for me personally.
yeah.
But I think you must have your kind of favourite venues.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I feel really spoilt because as a sort of touring musician, you get to go to so many, like it's so sort of vast. And then I start feeling sort of loyal or disloyal. I'm like sort of, oh yeah, I love that venue. And I was like, oh yeah, but I love that venue too. And I'm like, I don't know, but I love that venue too. There are so many great ones. I'm really, yeah, because there's venues that obviously like play a big part in your early days that you're always sort of attached to,
Yeah,
and then there's just weird ones or really independent, like politically engaged
yeah.
venues that are really inspiring. There's some good ones.
I mean that for me, I think it's always going to be the early formation is going to be where my heart really lies. So I
Yeah,
think so that's the reason why, like, if people were to ask me, I probably would say the Louisiana is probably still my favourite overall,
yeah,
because of like the sentimental attachment to it.
yeah. I feel like it's similar for me with them. Well, there's a venue that was in my hometown in Winchester called the Railway Inn,
Oh,
and
that's a
so
great
that's
place. I've
yeah.
actually
So
been there once.
I'm really fond of that place, but also because I guess a lot of my musical sort of coming of age happened in Bristol. I just always think about the Cube and how brilliant it is there. I've
Yeah, oh
just
man.
so many happy memories of playing at and seeing gigs at the Cube. It's great. I love it.
The last time I was at the Cube, I was watching Lonnie Holly.
Oh, I really wished
Yeah,
I had been able to go to that gig. Did you
it,
get his cap? Did you get any of his merch?
no, but I drew him though, and it was his 70th birthday.
Oh, it's so
So,
great.
so he had like birthday cake brought out to him, and like kind of like so we all got to sing him happy birthday, and he was
Do you
like,
have the picture you drew within reach now, or
oh
is it
no, maybe not.
maybe it's
Oh maybe.
well, it's all right. No emergency, but I'd love to see it if it is
Oh
easy
yeah,
to get hold of.
it's definitely around somewhere. It's in one of
Yeah.
my sketchbooks. Um, is it in the pad? It's in the pad beside in this room, so it's definitely here somewhere.
Well, if it's not easy to find, then maybe email me a photo later or something.
Yeah, I think it's quite easy to find. I think it should be. Oh no, no, it's not bad. But I can show you something else I've been drawn though.
Yeah, let's have a look.
So I've been asked by the Exchange to help them design like a new T-shirt.
Oh, brilliant.
Because they're doing like a T-shirt to like
Oh, Jeff, I
basically
love it.
raise funds to like help them keep alive.
That's really great.
And so like I thought right, I was just started thinking like what sums up me and also what do people have to see. My fist in the air with the
It's
wrist
so
pads.
great. It's so brilliant. I love it.
And yeah, I mean obviously like and yeah, so I thought like so I thought that's kind of like quite a powerful image, and I think that that also sums up a lot about the Exchange.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it's sort of it's sort of, that image is also quite a message of like political action as well, which I feel
Yeah,
like is what happens in engaged venues. Like they are sort of politically engaged.
I feel also positivity as well. I think there's a certain warmth. I think it's mostly from independent venues where you can feel the people's personality in them.
Yeah, and the love that goes into making the venue work.
Yeah, because
It's true.
like when you go and see like for instance the Trades Club in Hebden Bridge.
Yeah.
I mean that's a beautiful town.
Yeah, really nice. Really great. Oh
It's
yeah,
like
because the last chat we had, you were talking about how you stayed there and you had like a jacuzzi.
yeah,
Is that right?
yeah. It's just like It was like I was staying in a B&B called Magic Numbers, and it was
Great.
like,
Already a good name. That's off to a good start.
yeah, no, to be honest, I thought, hang on, this is going to be like a Magic Numbers for the band themed, kind of like B&B. Which actually could be kind of quite interesting if there was actually, B&Bs. I know you can get hotels which are themed around bands. Oh,
Yeah.
I was saying, well, I think quickly up a bit. Um, but I think that I was just wondering if you could get B&Bs themed around bands and what B&B you get themed around your band. Hello? Okay, you're frozen.
What want to say that question again?
I was saying that,
Am I,
like because it's just like a really random thing. Obviously, like having like Magic Numbers B&B and how I thought it could be like a Magic Numbers but the band themed
yeah.
B&B. Because you can get actually like band themed hotels.
Yeah, exactly. That's true.
Like you got like the Beatles, like especially out in Tokyo, I think in Japan, where they've got like things like the Beatles themed like hotels and stuff like that.
Is it the whole hotel that's themed about the Beatles, or just like one or certain rooms, or is it the whole? Is it the whole
I
lot?
think it's the whole thing. I think there's definitely there's a few places where they've done like themed hotels, and so I was wondering what it'd be like if you had a list of a kit themed hotel.
Well, I think it'd be like my flat. I think it'd
Yeah,
be like this. There'd be a big stack of board games. Let me get my finger so it
yep,
works.
yep,
Okay, so oh, I
see,
can't make the camera work. Anyway, board games.
yep,
There would be. There would be loads of stamps on the front door.
yep,
There's the door with all the stamps on. There'd be lots of maps on the wall. I can't use my arm.
yep.
That
That's
would be
it.
the map section.
Yep.
And lots of records.
Hey, every hotel should come with records.
Yeah, every hotel should come with records. But there'd probably be like naughty people that would take the records,
Yeah, it
which is a
probably would be.
shame. But if it was like a sort of book exchange
Yeah,
thing where you brought some and swapped some, that'd be good.
it'd be like
What else would there be? There'd probably be quite a lot of sort of miscellaneous textiles
yeah,
items just draped around. Oh look, and
like my parents' sort of place, really.
yeah, exactly. And I can't make my finger point in the right direction. A
Yeah.
paper mache
Yep, I can see it.
monster head.
Yeah.
So that's probably what it would be like in a in a in a
Imagine
this
it
is the
being like
good themed Airbnb.
almost like a Wes Anderson sort of hotel.
Yeah, maybe.
Sort of thing like you can imagine like it's like especially with all the stamps and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Where you got to like where you got to write kind of like letters to people.
Yes, exactly. Proper. You know what? If I had a hotel, I would make sure that there was letter writing equipment in every room so that people actually wrote proper letters to each other. I think that would be great if people did that more often. I
Actually,
quite like the idea. Oh, go on. What are you going to say?
I did do like because of like people have gotten more into letter writing again.
I hope so. What do you think
Yeah.
since since the lockdown, people have been writing more letters?
Yeah. Like I've had a couple of letters from my nephew and from like
Great.
various AF Gang fan members.
Excellent.
I also did this is going to bring up a really weird way of actually how I originally got involved with Independent Venue Week.
Oh yeah, let's have it.
Was that I did like a kind of like a fan art kind of like letter writing thing.
Great.
But actually, no one actually got their letters because I was writing to people like Björk and I was like doing it in like really bright colours and like lots of different like kind of shapes and textures.
Brilliant.
The people which I wrote to was Tim Burgess.
Oh, cool.
Tim did full when I was a teenage, when I was really young. It's like the only one I know came out, and that was all over radio, and so that partly influenced me, sort of thing.
So you wrote to him?
Yeah, so I did like imaginatively shaped letter, but I actually spelled out his name.
Oh, great.
And then basically what I did was I took a snapshot of it, like scanned it into like on the computer, and then sent it to him in a message over Twitter.
Oh, great.
And like just to see if we'd get a reaction.
Yeah.
The next thing I know, so like I asked him some quite personal stuff about so basically most of the letters were basically I was like trying to ask about, what difficulties have people that use creativity to kind of like overcome.
Yeah.
So like obviously with Tim Burgess, it would be like the loss of several band members through his career, and so I was like, right, okay, this is how I dealt with the losses. Also, kind of creating like a like a rap alter ego sort of thing.
Okay,
It's like,
yeah.
did, did, did you use music as a therapy to cope with loss? Kind of blah 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 sort of thing. And then I wasn't expecting any response.
Yeah.
About 20 minutes later, I got like a full like A4 kind of like letter back, which is like
Wow.
he was like saying that yeah, that's really touching and it's really like kind of which is like really moving. And then I think it's about a few months later, he got in touch with me saying, "Hey Jeff, I'm doing something. Do you want to be involved in something really cool?"
And
And
what was it?
it was basically he was like involved with putting on my own show for Independent Venue Week.
Oh, great.
Tim Burgess was one of the ambassadors.
Yeah, okay.
Then gradually one thing's led to another, and then I ended up here.
That's so great. He's a
Yeah,
good lad, Tim Burgess. I'm really he's really great. Really sort of engaged and stuff. Have you been doing any of the Twitter listening parties he's been doing?
I'm literally not because I've been doing live streaming.
Of course, yeah, Clash,
So
Gig
I've
Clash.
been, yeah. And so like mostly yeah, exactly, big clash. So I mean that's the thing is because like sometimes because you've got to start right from the very beginning of the record and you got to press play
Yeah, you
exactly
got
the
to be
same
there at the
time.
right time. Press
Yeah,
play.
yeah. I think it's quite idea because I think it is actually getting people to re-engage again.
Yeah, I love the opportunity because I mean, of course, I could just choose to put a record on,
Yeah,
but when there's sort of a collective experience and everyone's listening to the same record at the same time from start to finish, I think that's a really sort of powerful thing. I think it's really great
yeah.
because I often don't make the effort to listen to a record from start to finish.
Mm. It can be really difficult, especially when you've got something to flip it over.
What did you
Especially
say? When you got to flip it over? Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
To be honest,
Keep up, shit. Everyone else is on Spotify and I've
yeah,
got to
exactly.
turn the record over.
Yeah, exactly. So trying to but then also it's but then also like it does make you see like the work. I guess also like from your perspective, it might maybe see your songs in a different view, maybe.
Yeah, maybe what to listen to them in the row that they were
Yeah.
intended, as it were.
Then
Yeah.
also like to see people's reactions to them as well.
Yeah, always interesting to see the reactions. I mean, I guess you can only get a certain type of reaction when it's, for example, on like a Twitter type
Yeah.
situation. For starters, you've only got so many characters you can use,
Yeah.
but that's good. I mean, it's nice. I think a way of people staying concise and having a spontaneous reaction is really nice.
Yeah. I mean that's what I also noticed with the Colston Hall sort of thing, and with some of the other live
Yeah,
stream cases. Actually, you can still see people because like you can see them commenting.
yeah, I love that. When we were watching, there was this weekend. It was great seeing the comments go by. It was nice seeing you were there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, especially doing melt yourself down, and actually doing the melt yourself down, and nearly broke my computer.
Did you what? Just from over
Yeah, too
commenting?
excited. So I got like, especially when they said to play like "Fix My Life" today, I was like, as soon as that kicked in, I was just went from like, yeah, this is really really good to just like literally having to physically restrain myself.
Yeah, just like holding down the exclamation mark button.
Yeah, it's like,
Oh!
it's basically like tuned with about 40 different syllables, sort of thing.
It was so
All the
great.
caps locks.
Yeah, caps lock.
Yeah, exactly.
Just mashing the keyboard pad
Yeah.
with your hand.
It was exactly that. It was just like me going like, I went from being like, this is freaking great, this is freaking great, and then all of a sudden just like, it's partly to do like triggering off memories as well.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, especially like with Kush and knowing what he can be like as a frontman sort of thing.
Yeah, he's so great at performing.
Yeah. I mean, like
Yeah.
one of the most funniest actually kind of semi-mental mosh pit stories involves Melt Yourself Down actually.
Oh yeah, do tell.
Well, basically they kicked off their set as per usual with Fix Myself today.
Uh-huh.
And then like basically I think halfway through it, I had a moment where I had like a crowd surfer coming out over one way and then Kush starting at the top of me the other way.
Okay.
I think that was pretty much it. Not really that much detail, but it's like, well, like I remember seeing them do like play like Latitude when they did the Radio 3 stage and them inciting mass stage invasions.
Great. And you were at that gig, were you, at
Yeah,
Latitude?
yeah.
Brilliant. And did you were you one of the stage invaders?
No, I wasn't actually, but
Just witnessing.
I was still like kind of witnessing the ones like security guards semi panicking as like
Yeah.
they thought the things were going to get out slightly out of hand.
Yeah, I always feel a little bit for the security guards when there's like unexpected
Yeah,
interaction that happens. You can see them sort of going, "Oh, what do we do? Hang on a
yeah. So
minute."
how do you cope with this? And, you know,
Yeah,
so,
how do we let it flow, but also not be like, you know, but still be doing their jobs, whatever their
yeah.
job list is. Yeah.
Well, I think also it shows a lot for the band as well. Also, I
Yeah.
think I don't know quite how like I mean, like there are sometimes some things where so with Kush he can be like completely different off stage, but completely to what he is on stage.
Yeah, it's true. There's there's that's the magic effect of performance, isn't it? That it's not, there's many ways of being.
It's like pushing like an on button sort of thing. There's somewhere in the head which just
Yeah.
makes you go like, okay, it's like what I call the Iggy Pop button.
Yeah.
This way you get just like because he still gets massive bursts of energy and will still throw himself out into the middle of the audience, and he's like 70 something years
Yeah,
old.
he's so great. He's brilliant.
Also, what I love about him is that he's got lucky as I've been having like a really easy to listen to voice.
What Iggy Pop?
Yeah,
Yeah, his
when you
voice is
get
really nice
talking,
to
it's got
listen to.
that kind of like that kind of smoking man's jacket sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, his talking voice is really nice. His singing voice is just brilliant. He's a good one, old Iggy Pop.
Yeah, he's like he'll be like one of my people which I'll probably be too starstruck to say hello to.
Oh no, but he'd probably be star. He'd want to say hello to you.
Yeah, probably. I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, I've never actually met him personally, so
Mm,
he probably would be.
we'll have to engineer it, Jeff. We'll have to
Yeah.
engineer
The thing is that
a meeting.
he's actually one of the people which I did go first. Number one person for Zoom chats would be like, ultimate hero would be like Iggy Pop, Björk.
Maybe
Um,
he'd be up for it. You should like just get in touch, see if he wants to do a Zoom chat.
yeah, actually, several people actually which I did actually kind of write to, and I imagined like kind of fan mail thing
Yeah,
was obviously I mentioned Tim Burgess, but
yeah.
Björk was the first one.
And did you document them before you sent them? Did you like take pictures of what you did and then before you send it?
I've kind of like, but I've got them on me.
Oh right, so you sent them digitally. You sort of made them
Yeah, or like
and
so,
then
like with Björk,
you
he
send
sent
the scans.
like a tweet sort of thing,
Okay, I gotcha.
and I felt like I don't know. I mean, I feel quite nervous about sometimes like learning to let go of things.
Yeah.
And it can be like kind of I don't know how it is for you with like songs learning to let go of them and like learning to put them into the hands of someone else.
Yeah, I mean, it's more, yeah, for me, it's more a question of learning how to let go of how people interpret what I do, I think,
Mm,
because it's always going to be a bit different to how I interpret what I do.
yeah.
No one's necessarily going to be right, not even me. So it's just, yeah, sometimes I sort of think, yeah, it takes a bit of work, I think, deciding not to mind how people take things or how they interpret them, because it's almost like people decide already what they think of something
Yeah.
sometimes, and then they just make it fit into whatever template they've prepared. So you can't take it personally if it if it's a sort of interpretation that you don't 100% agree with. You just have
Mm.
to not mind.
Or if it's like kind of like someone like necessarily like reviewing the record who doesn't necessarily understand what you're trying to do, maybe.
Well, I mean, there's no understanding or not understanding, because I think you just have to interpret it however, it's not for me to decide how other people interpret what I do, because it's not like there's no right or wrong way of interpreting it. It's just like, if someone, for example, takes offense at something I write about, or if someone decides that it's about something that it
Yeah.
definitely isn't about,
Mm.
I just have to I just have to decide not to mind.
I guess it's a bit like kind of like inadvertently kind of soundtracking part, like people's lives sort of thing.
Yeah, it's true because I mean I don't know how much that happens. I mean I don't know how people sort of use or interact with my music really, but I do know that I listen to a lot of music, and a lot
Yeah.
of the music that I listen to has ended up soundtracking my life and what I do and the memories I have and stuff.
Mm.
So I guess it's a two-way street.
I very much feel that actually.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, on the last conversation, I did tell you about like obviously like, a lot of music revolved around car journeys for me.
Yeah, of
I,
course. Yeah, I remember. That was good.
I remember like
Annie Lennox.
yeah, oh yeah, no, that record was great. I've actually gone back to listening to that, and actually like the last Christmas we sat down and we actually had like a listening session.
What, like family Christmas listening session?
Yeah, with me and my parents,
Brilliant.
and like because like my sister literally lives down the road from my parents, sort of thing.
Great.
Yeah, that's really nice. And we got yeah, so we played like Annie Lennox. We played. I went through the Boiling Point compilation.
Okay,
Again,
Brill.
listening to it as
Oh yeah,
well.
you
And then,
mentioned that because was that what you got in your stocking
yeah,
instead of now 87 or whatever
yeah.
it was? Yeah.
Instead of like the whole pop compilation.
Yeah.
Actually, so I remember like there's one other big journey which I remember having, and which was soundtracked by something else.
Oh yeah, what was
One of
it?
actually one of my favourite tapes was well my the best man at my parents' wedding was a like kind of funk hip hop DJ,
Oh cool.
like so it was like 70s like kind of like hip hop disco.
Useful person to have at a
Yeah.
wedding.
So we had like this. So we had like this. Yeah, this really amazing mixtape. So when I was like 5 years old, I remember like hearing like Grace Jones and hearing like kind of um, African Bambaataa,
Okay, great.
like Mary Mel and the Furious Five, Curtis Blow, kind of all these really classic kind of disco and hip hop tunes. And I remember loving it, but I remember thinking that in my head it's like sounding like space aliens.
Yeah, a different sort of a foreign type of music maybe for you at the time, was it?
Yeah, but also like those synth sounds as well.
Yep, true. I see what you mean. Yeah, a
But,
lot of the
but
technology used in making the music.
yeah, and like when you're thinking about it, going like, wow, okay, like I mean, I find myself like kind of sat in the car, be like head nodding along sort of thing. But then I knew that I liked it, but I didn't know what I liked about it.
Yeah.
I think that's partly having like semi-childhood naivety,
Uh-huh.
or maybe like sometimes you can get an inkling of what you like, sometimes some of the things that you like when you're younger.
Yeah, it is interesting. I'm often sort of fascinated about, well, partly about at what age people start enjoying music and seeking out, making choices about what they listen to, and just how that sort of changes. Like for me, when I was younger, like I started off with influences from my parents, what they listened
Yeah,
to, and then it was what my sisters were listening to, and then I discovered Radio One and like the charts
yeah,
and Top of the Pops, and I feel like that journey was so common for I guess people of sort of my generation,
mm,
and it was different for my parents' generation. They obviously had a different sort of discovery
yeah,
of the music they're into, and then my daughter now, she's got a totally different. I mean, I guess she's obviously got her parents' influence, but she doesn't. There's no Top of the Pops. There's no like
no,
chart countdown for her on the radio.
yeah. Because I remember
So
taking those actually.
yeah, exactly, making the tapes.
Yeah,
So I mean, she does make tapes, but she makes them off YouTube now. She'll like plug the computer into the tape
yeah.
player and like make tapes that way instead.
Wow.
So it's sort of funny. Yeah, now it's just sort of this vast. Well, it's just interesting, isn't it? How you find your musical path, because I feel like it is quite an individual, personal journey.
Yeah.
And often it's just when kids are like, 10 or younger or whatever.
But
Makes me
also,
think of that Velvet Underground song
yeah.
about, turning on radio station and it
Yeah.
being a life changer. I feel like that
I mean,
sums up pretty well.
I've also found that actually, as I've grown up, that actually the way which I listen to things has
Yeah.
changed as well.
How do you feel
Um,
like it's changed?
well, it's definitely broadened a lot. It's definitely got a lot like. I mean, I guess that you could say from my childhood as if I had a relatively broad intake of things anyway. But I think that it's definitely got a lot more like I never visit myself at going out to club nights sort of thing. I never visited like myself really being into kind of dance music, say, but
Uh-huh.
that's kind of changed. And then also like I think that perceptions of things have changed as well. Um,
Yes.
and also like the also with a lot of kind of music crossing boundaries
Yeah.
and like potentials for things. Definitely, I've definitely noticed that. Like so, like people like Anna Meredith, for instance, who borders on both the classical and the techno,
Yeah.
like electro sort of world sort of thing. And I guess that, yeah, I did change my. I guess that, I mean, like, because I guess that when I was a teenager, I was into a lot of the crossover rock kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There'd be like bands like Dub War or like kind of Son of Farik, who largely forgotten about now, but they were like bands who like basically fused multiple genres together.
And then how did you, because when you were sort of like finding out what you liked and like, when you were younger, how did you find out about stuff? Was it in record shops or was it reading magazines or
The
was it
magazines,
radio?
the crack
Yeah.
crang,
Oh, yeah.
quite often radio as well, because of
Yeah.
like the nearest record shop to me would have been about 10 miles away.
Oh, yeah. A bit of a schlep.
Yeah, but then like would largely be through. But then when we go into Stroud, I'd end up in like tape and disc or Kane's records for like
Yeah.
3 hours sometimes. Like I'd have to go through the entire like if when I did go to the record shop, I'd literally have to go through their catalogue about 3 times.
It's great. But it's so nice that though, when you're in a record shop and you aren't like pressed for time, when you've got no time restrictions, and you can just enjoy it. Like the pleasing sensation of just like flicking through records or looking
Mm.
through stuff, but also just, yeah, taking it
Also,
all in, just making the links between bands
yeah.
and music you
Then,
like.
then it's like also treating yourself, and then also like for me, I became quite good with mathematics because of it.
Oh really? How
It's
did
not
you get
some-
good at mathematics because of
Well,
it?
I think about it. It's like as if in like you go, this record's worth is this much, this one's this much. Then if you
Oh
get
yeah,
that one and that one,
price calculation.
yeah, exactly. It'd be amazing with how nifty that would happen with like especially the cassette tapes. I'd be
Yeah,
like going into WH Smith's, being sent in by my parents, having to go and get some stationery, or like
yeah,
kind of like a pen, like kind of like a pen, like a pen, and like I go into the tape section, I'd be like, oh yeah, look, they got Skunk Nancy Stoosh for like $4.99.
yeah.
If I bought this pen, then
Yeah, if I bought the cheaper pen, then
yeah,
that would leave
if
me
I,
with a
if
little
I
bit
bought
more
this still quite high quality pen for like for like £3.50 for like £4.50. I've got look, I've got £5 left to go and
Yeah,
get that
just the
record.
right amount for this tape.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is I used to do that a lot. I mean, like I'll literally be still and I still do it to a certain extent. You know, when I have the chance to go into like friendly records, where we'll be literally kind of procrastinating for hours on end.
Yeah,
Well, I guess that's partly what I miss at the moment, really.
yeah, because it's just a nice place to be, especially the record shops that are welcoming and like are up for you browsing for hours on end. Because I feel like I've been in shops sometimes in my life where you don't feel like you're welcome and you're like,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna look anymore. I'm just gonna get out of here.
yeah,
But when
that's
you
fair
feel
enough.
like when you can stay and there people come and go and there's
I
you
think
can
it helps
chat
with
to
the
other
staff, though,
people.
doesn't it? If you've got like a nice staff, then
Yeah,
you know, like I used to spend sometimes entire afternoons in replay
yeah,
records in
great.
New Street, and what was particularly great was that I must admit I didn't actually buy that much of the stuff which they had, technically officially for sale, but I would always raid the 10p promos box.
Oh, great. Yeah, the sort of lucky dip bin.
Yeah. Well, I discovered some amazing stuff with that, but literally, because you can walk away with like 10 albums for like 2 or 3 quid.
Yeah.
It'd be like, right, okay, I'm going to mass consume these. Some of these are going to be good, some of these are going to be, yeah, shall we say.
But then also it's just quite often you're sort of like, what? It's only a quid. I can't afford not to.
Yeah,
Like it's worth a quid just to see if I like it, just for the experience of like putting it on and pressing play and not knowing if you're going to like it or not.
yeah, but then
It's great.
what I'd always do is I would always go up to the listening point and listen to at least 30 seconds of them.
Yep.
Because
Good policy.
the thing is that for me, I can always tell whether I can like something within the first couple of seconds.
Mm.
I
Have you ever
wonder,
been Have you ever been wrong though? Have you ever thought? Has that ever caught you out in the past?
um,
Or is it pretty
um,
reliable?
yeah, it's pretty reliable.
Yeah,
Sort
it's
of
good.
thing. Like, I mean, I guess in the past, I guess that there may have been the odd one or two things which I bought by mistake, thinking that there was something else,
Yeah.
and then finding out to my shock and horror, or
Shock
be like,
horror.
wow, well, this is amazing. Um, like actually, at first, I mean, I remember like kind of being a student in Guildford, and I like quite often in the HMV
Yeah.
spend hours either procrastinating, or I'd be like kind of on the listening headphones. They had to almost ban me from so I was listening to the Trans Am album way too many times.
What? Because you were like hogging the headphones.
Yeah, pretty much. It was like
They must have had more than one listening post though, did they?
I think they only had about two at this big store.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Fair
I think
dues.
there was a fact that they had their like listening posts which they already had the CDs fully inserted into. Whereas I
Yeah.
think this is like the one which people could actually go and request to listen on.
Oh right. Okay.
I think there was one time when I built up a queue of about 13 people.
Oh wow. Cool.
Yeah, I know. To be honest, and I had been there a good 40 minutes, but I was listening to,
40 minutes.
yeah, I was actually listening to a record which really did change my life, actually, which was a band called Trans Am.
Okay.
They're from Chicago. They're part of like Tortoise, part
Well,
of their collective.
the sort of thrill jockey gang.
Yeah,
Okay.
and they released an album called Redline.
Okay.
And the reason why I fell in love with it was the fact that I guess that they were like one of the bands which could have semi got me into dance music. Because
Mm.
it was the first time that I heard like electronics but with live drums.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, this is really really good.
Yes.
And then like
Pivotal
also
moment.
across the boundaries of like the post rock and the like kind of psychedelia sort of thing, and like but still make it really interesting and listenable.
Yeah.
And I think that
And they
yeah,
and it got you stuck in there for over 40 minutes in the listening booth.
oh more than twice.
More than twice. Okay, great.
When I said they literally almost had to ban me.
Oh,
It was literally like,
they
quick,
should
he's
have
going to
just.
be requesting that album again, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's there for like 50 minutes.
It's good though. I feel like it's important. It's important to have the listening posts in there.
Yeah. And I like, so I think that's how we best discover things like it's actually personally.
Yeah. Do you ever get music out of the library?
I used to.
Uh huh.
I used to like, especially in Ellsworth Library, we used to kind of go to their book albums and basically copy them onto cassette.
Oh yeah, great.
That's how I would have had like PJ Harvey's first record.
Okay.
We've been through that and like stuff like the Wild Hearts and like
Yeah.
basically it's like whatever was popular at the time, really.
And I guess it's also some of it depends on how lucky you are with who's choosing them. Which
Yeah.
librarian is choosing the music that they get in and stuff. Because
Yeah.
some libraries have an amazing collection of music, just really, really eclectic and
I remember like
well informed.
getting stuff like Neil Young, um, even stuff like Tim Finn, Crowded House, some
Yeah.
of that in there, and then like having I still remember getting out like Wild Hearts,
Okay.
Brit rock sort of thing.
Great.
Because I was really into how they as well as doing the whole Brit rock thing, how they also like recorded the like harmonic backing vocals
Okay.
by being high as fuck.
Yeah.
Because they were well, they were heroin addicts, I think.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
complicated, but
yeah,
you know,
I guess it's like symptomatic of the times sort of thing.
yeah,
I mean, like, yeah,
maybe.
libraries, I think, did play a huge part, did play quite a big part, really.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing that's played huge parts is charity shops.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, charity shops are great for digging out music.
Yeah, literally, like, I think I was going through, like, my 7 inches the other day and I found possibly my favourite ever find, which I'll
Oh
probably
yeah.
just try and dig out because I think it's in one of my piles near the floor.
Oh yeah, if it's within reach,
Oh, yeah, it's within reach. It's
dig it
definitely in
out.
this room.
Let's have a look.
Um, it was, well, I found like a 1970s Afrobeat single,
Yeah.
like 1975.
Okay. Which
Uh,
charity shop was it in? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was in, where was it in? It's not in this pile, I don't think. It was in, um, like the St. Peter's Hospice, like one of the charity shops on East Street in Bristol.
Yeah.
Um, I think it might be over here somewhere. I can't find it, and I'll. Uh, was, yeah, it is. It'll be somewhere.
I feel like I should be looking for something while you look. I should go and have a look for something as well.
Oh, where did I put it? It might be on the pile. Oh, I put it over here. Here it is.
Got it?
Yep. It's from the Africa label
Yeah.
from 1975. Orchestra Bella Bella.
Oh, nice. And that was from the St. Peter's Hospice.
Yeah.
Great.
I mean, like, it's one of those tracks that you can't actually find online anywhere, really.
Oh, really?
But it's sort of like Kanda Bongo Man and like loads of very influential, like kind of African artists sort of thing. Like collaborate sort of thing in a kind of orchestra.
And when you DJ, do you take it with you?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes if I feel like I'm going to track in some West African music, then sometimes I'll reach for it.
Yeah.
It's cool also if the decks have got like a centerpiece.
Oh, yeah. What? So you can sort of do a now playing
Yeah, no, it's been
shelf.
like out, so it's got the centerpiece missing.
Oh, I see the centerpiece. Sorry, I thought you
Yeah,
meant like a little center, like a little display centerpiece shrine. But no, I
no,
see like the
yeah,
the fatty bit in the
yeah.
middle. Yeah.
Like if they've got that, then it will definitely come out at some point.
Yeah.
I'll be like,
We
right,
need to we need to get you some spare ones so that whenever you DJ, you can just take them and have them with you, just in
yeah,
case.
I know. I need to find where to get them from, really.
Yeah, I bet there are ways. I feel like I've seen them in some record shops, but
I
who
think
knows
also like
which ones?
I think places like well, obviously like vinyl specialists would definitely have them somewhere.
Yeah.
I think also there's certain like technical shops as well. Will definitely like musical instrument shops that should definitely have
True, true.
some version of them, especially if they're doing DJ equipment.
Yeah. And
And
I feel like a few record shops have started selling turntables now, and I feel like
yeah,
they'd be ones that would have the little middly spaces.
yeah. I don't know what to call them, but
Yeah, someone probably has an official name for it.
it's basically those 7 inches. They quite often have the centers popped out, so they'd be in
Jukeboxes.
yeah.
Yeah.
But actually, that's the other thing. So there's obviously like not having stuff like pubs as well. So I think that quite often having social spaces where you can hear music, I think, is actually quite an important thing.
Yeah, it's true.
I think that influences quite a lot of people. Because like when people get out, they're like, "Oh, what the hell is this song?"
Yeah, the responsibility of a landlord, whatever sort of music they put on in their pub, is
Yeah,
sort of getting these people are sort of hearing it and liking it, or it's good.
yeah. And I think it also goes like kind of. It also does, as I said, certain music definitely does affect atmosphere.
Of course, exactly that, big time.
I think that
I mean, that's the whole concept of DJing, I guess, isn't it? Like
Mm.
you're sort of, making an atmosphere.
Or like making mixtapes sort of thing.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
things a bit like so. I found that I don't know if you ever made mixtapes for other people before.
Yeah, it's one of my favourite things to do. I love it.
Yeah, I used to love it as well. So I'd be like, right, if you really want to know me, here's every emotion of me put onto one tape.
Yeah, it's a really nice way of like getting a little window into what someone's like is if they make you a tape of what they like. It's like I still listen to tapes from that I was given when I was sort of 11 and stuff. It's nice, isn't it, to have the archives,
Mm.
all the mixtapes,
Yeah, that's
mixtapes we have known.
yeah. Then also like it's like kind of it's like weird sometimes looking back at some of them going, really, I listened to that.
I know it's funny, isn't it? You sort of it can if you're not careful, it can make you feel a bit embarrassed. But I feel like it's important to you know
Yeah,
adopt a no shame policy for
I
musical
think
history.
I think also that it's like reflecting on like how like also like the way music is made is changing, and also like
Yeah,
I think it reflects on I guess different genres.
yeah,
You know, like how like people would view I guess like like I guess those like late 90s, early 2000s for me would be like kind of a massive melting pot of different things.
yeah,
You know, like going to see bands ranging from like Asian Dub Foundation who are like kind of cultural outsiders who basically took both the electronic and the punk world by storm.
yeah.
Like you know,
With a good dose of politics mixed in.
yeah, very
Yeah,
and very positive message as well.
yeah, definitely.
I mean, like there's countless amounts of times I ended up moshing to Free Sapphire Ram.
Great.
I'd always have it on my headphones and be just headbanging away to it sort of thing.
Yeah, I think I had that on 12-inch, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe would they have done released a 12-inch? Maybe I'm mixing it up with someone else. But yeah,
I think it would
great.
have done actually
Yeah,
about like late 90s sort of thing.
yeah,
I think like that would have been like I think Free Sapphire Ram would have been about 98.
yep, yep. That sounds plausible. That sounds. What was I doing? GCSEs.
Oh yeah, you were like about the same year as me then.
Maybe, yeah. I turned 18 in 2000, so maybe I'm a bit older than you.
Yeah, I think about maybe about 2 years older than me.
Yeah, okay, but yeah,
I think,
similar.
but we both were in like within like similar age brackets, I think.
Yeah, exactly. We would have had a similar sort of secondary school musical education.
Yeah,
Like what I often think about the time, like the effect it had on my school when OK Computer came out.
mm,
It was amazing. It just sort of like ripped through everyone's lives in quite an impressive way.
yeah. I must admit, I was not a really Radiohead fan.
Yep, fair enough. Fair enough. That's all right.
I think that's the thing. So I think that what it was, and that this is going to sound a bit arrogant.
That's all
Is
right.
that,
Arrogance
is that
allowed.
I found, especially when I was a teenager, didn't like being told what to listen to.
Oh yeah, and I guess because they were so popular,
Yeah,
it's too.
it,
Yeah, I can understand that.
it made it so like
The contrary streak.
yeah.
Yeah.
And to be honest, like this could make me sound a bit hypocritical, or something. Like I'd
Nah.
probably listen to them now again and actually go, yeah, it was good. But the thing is,
Yeah.
that at the time I was a bit like, well, because I was listening to stuff like Dub War and stuff like that, which to me was taking some of the things which people were getting excited about Radiohead and pushing it much further, and
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
still
It's
making it poppy
true.
as well.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
it,
Sometimes, like, I mean, it's because I don't think it's being hypocritical. I think it's just, yeah, I often get that. I like a reluctance to be open to something just because it's such a mainstream or thing, or so many
yeah,
people are into it. And then years later, I'll finally sort of come around when I'm ready.
yeah. I think it's,
I,
I think, and I think it is. I think, as I said, like for me, music's very much an emotional thing.
yeah,
If I find like something really excites me, and it should be personal, you know.
yeah.
So I remember like kind of being with a few Radiohead fans at Primavera Sound, and they were shocked that I didn't go and see them, so I went to go and see Tortoise instead.
Well,
Because of like,
it's hard to not go and see Tortoise, isn't it? That
yeah,
you don't
exactly.
want to
Well,
miss
to be
that
honest,
gig.
yeah. I mean, like that's exactly it. I was been like, well, do you love Radiohead? That's great, but they're not necessarily my favourite band. So
What also it depends on the gig, doesn't it? Because I imagine, well, I don't know, what were the sort of crowd sizes compared like? Like I'd much rather go and see a smaller quality gig
Yeah.
than a bigger one.
The crowds, basically, I think three-quarters of the festival site went to see Radiohead. I
Yeah.
was like,
And the
well,
other quarter went to see Tortoise.
yeah, or they went to see like some of the other stuff which was happening at the same time.
Yeah. That's a little bit of a tricky slot to get, isn't it? A slot that's at the same time as Radiohead.
Especially
Because
as actually Tortoise hugely influenced Radiohead, I think.
yeah, I think you're
This
probably
house
right.
stuff sort of thing. And
But I must admit, I just love Radiohead,
that's fair enough.
and I do love a Radiohead gig. But I think the chances of me seeing a Tortoise gig would be so slim that I would probably have had to have chosen the Tortoise gig over Radiohead at that
Yeah.
on that particular occasion.
In fact, I ended up seeing both Tortoise and Dinosaur Jr.
Great.
Both at the same time at the Radiohead one.
Okay,
So I
great.
got to like, so I
It's
got to
quite
like,
a sort of premeditated programming choice, isn't it? It's really sort of
yeah,
sorting
they
out
had to.
people's loyalties, where their loyalties lie.
It's like a 200,000 capacity festival, so they had to split.
Yeah,
Otherwise, it'd be end up everyone going like everyone massive claustrophobic attacks.
it's true. A bit like when Dolly Parton played at Glastonbury.
Yeah,
Everyone had to. There had to be special measures taken so that so that some people were doing something else at the same time.
yeah, exactly. And I think like that, and you've got to split the audience because otherwise it does create kind of carnage.
Yeah.
I mean, there's certain people which I personally which I'd love to see.
Hmm.
Obviously, on my heroes list, Annie Lennox is definitely one person I've got to tick off
Yeah,
at
great.
some point.
Does she still gig much these days?
I think she doesn't do many. So I think, but she does. She does big shows.
Yeah.
It'll be like O2 Arena sort of thing.
Okay.
But but even if it's the O2 Arena, I'll still go.
Yeah, that's good.
But it's partly to like the sentimental attachment.
Yeah,
But
I
actually, I
think.
found myself like when Bacharach played Bristol, I found myself going to see him because of
Did
like
you? And where did he play when he was at Bristol?
Colston Hall.
Okay, classy. Yep,
Which,
good
yeah,
one, Bert.
it was a really great show actually. Because I think partly because it was just reminded me of being like 6, 7, 8 years, or like maybe 8 or 9 years old
Yeah.
in Nailsworth in like the video shop, just hearing all the soundtracks that he was involved with writing,
Yeah, good point.
and actually I think that we go to a lot of things because of like the sentimental value,
Yeah.
and I think that's so like we've always got to go like I'll always find myself tearing up to like some of the backtrack stuff because of
Yeah.
it's the emotion, it's the attachment.
Yeah, the sort of memories. And he has quite sort of evocative sort of melodies and sort of sounds and stuff, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But I wonder, sometimes I struggle with the words.
So
Do you know if
yeah,
was it always, did he,
it's Hal David who wrote the lyrics.
I was going to say who wrote the lyrics, because he was definitely the music guy.
Yeah.
And then so, yeah.
Hal David wrote. So they were part of like because you forget about like back in obviously the 50s and 60s, you would have had pop songwriting factories.
Yeah, exactly. People just,
People like him and
employed
Carole
to
King as well.
churn out the hits.
Yeah, they literally had to like write hit singles in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it's pretty crazy, but then also like you think of like the amount of amazing songs which they produced.
Yeah, but it's also interesting to see how that kind of shaped how what we consider to be a good hit or a good song, or
Yeah,
so those conditions produced a certain type of music which
yeah,
we'll then decide is
popular.
popular, or to a certain quality or something. It would be interesting to see, like, if it wasn't, if it was created under different circumstances, what
Yeah.
sort of music would it be like, and how would that have influenced modern music
Would
differently? It's
would we
strange.
still be listening to things on cheap music?
Yeah,
You know,
maybe. Yeah.
even- I think that and I think the first million selling artist was God, what name was not Count Basie or something like that. I think
Okay.
was the first real pop star sort of thing, and that'd be like 1930s. I
Yeah.
think if you think about it, it's like there's definitely a fine art to writing a pop song.
Yes, but then there's also like the added it's the technology factor again, isn't it? Because like when people started making gramophone records and realizing the potential of being able to sort of sell recordings and listen to music in your own house,
Yeah,
it was quite a revolutionary, you know, atomic blast of in terms of musical development, how people
yeah.
listen to stuff.
And also like, because also like obviously people like W.D. Handy who like um wrote stave notation and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I mean, like the thing that there's a lot of, because I think a lot of it does revolve back to like folk tales and lots of like to some extent too, like the original blues and like
yeah, interesting. Yeah,
that sort of thing actually.
yeah,
Because if you
it's
think about
true.
it, you've got to have the hook within the first almost 10 seconds.
Yeah, but then again, is that just because of the form that we've got used to,
Yeah,
or is that some sort of you know primeval or deep down ingrained thing in our brains?
it's like the comfort food thing sort of thing,
Yeah, 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 exactly.
isn't
Back
it?
again.
You
Yeah,
know, like
does it taste sweet
yeah,
and does it have enough fat in it?
yeah. And does it have like enough like emotional texture?
Is it
Like,
salty enough and is it
yeah,
nice to
here's the
bite
fiber.
on?
It's like it's like so kind of I guess like songwriting a bit like painting.
Oh yeah.
Because I've like this sort of view which I've always kind of had. It's like different, like the fine lines can always be the same, like different like, but it's like like different like I could choose to draw whatever material I draw in, or like I can like put the outlines, but it's whatever musical instruments you use. I like the coloring,
Yeah, it's true.
like how you shade things, and like how also like what emotions do you want people to feel from it? What genre do you want it to fall? I guess these genre wise.
Yeah, because there are people that write like that. They sort of think about the audience. They think about the final product and their audience and who's listening to it and what they want people to feel,
Hmm.
rather than the process of writing a song and what they feel and what just comes out of their own exploration of themselves, if you see what I mean. There's sort of
Yeah.
different, there's so many different ways of like getting a song. You can either write a song for the experience of writing a song and seeing what comes out of it, or you can write a song because you're Burt Bacharach in a song in a hit factory,
Yeah,
trying to trying to get it out there.
but it's really amazing because like it took him 10 years to have his first hit single.
Yeah, interesting.
And cause he thought it'd be really easy, but actually it's not. There's actually there's definitely like a fine art to capturing a song which turns out to be popular.
Yeah, and a lot of competition, and also I think sometimes just luck and fluke. Like I
Yeah.
just think it's just a mystery sometimes.
Well, his first hit single was "Magic Moments." For
Interesting.
yeah, he wrote that. He wrote the melody for that.
For some reason, I always associate that with sort of British stuff. I always think of that as being quite a sort of
Well,
British
the thing is,
song.
it was recorded by who was it? It was like recorded by someone. I can't remember who was it by. It's like by one of those really cheesy, easy listening singers.
Yeah.
But I think it's because we associate it with Quality Street adverts.
You're right. That's what it is. It was a chocolate advert.
And actually, I think that it's like, for instance, I used to associate. I think that's a huge power, isn't it? It's like how we associate songs.
Yeah.
And so, for instance, I used to um, associate "Satisfaction" by the Rolling Stones as being the Snickers advert.
That's true. It was on the Snickers. You're right.
Yeah,
It's funny, isn't it now? Because the world of publicity has
yeah,
evolved so quickly and vastly. Like since I guess since what like propaganda during the war was that like the birth of publicity,
yeah.
and now people use it. Yeah, they've got all of these tools, like emotion ways of making people feel stuff with images and music.
Like technically, this being recorded is technically publicity.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
Yep, yep, it's true. It's all the edges are really blurry now,
Hmm.
and it's strange how that is, one of the few ways that musicians can make music these days as well. Like it's a whole new oh, I've got a little beetle crawling on my hand.
Oh wow.
It's strange. It's such a huge business. Like the publicity music business is almost bigger than the just chart music
Yeah.
business or whatever, for want of a better way of explaining it.
I think that's where always the greatest income stream has always come from. Has been publicity.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't
And
it? The sort of capitalist ecosystem that we find ourselves in.
which is probably what's going to have to change to adapt to the new system that we find.
I hope so. I hope there can be a new system that people can pick up on, and not just, I know so many people that think that capitalism is the only thing that can work. And
Yeah,
I just and I don't and I can't understand that way of thinking, because to me it doesn't work, and I can see it not working.
yeah.
So but maybe I'm just not clever enough to understand it all. Who knows?
But then maybe it's also like it's about like kind of maybe having different ways of thinking as well.
Yeah,
Which,
yeah,
which,
it's
which,
true.
which admittedly, I think it takes time to adapt to. But then also I think that it's also that because if you've been brought up in a certain way,
Yeah.
then it's difficult for you to see, like I was going to say, like kind of maybe other cultures of people changing.
Yeah, and again, so many people are brought up with this sort of neo-Darwin, this sort of like survival of the fittest, the strongest, like make it grow, make it bigger, like we're better because we're bigger, and like this weird sort of interpretation of principles that results in people not respecting small scale activity,
Hmm.
like
But
local stuff, and
Well, I
just
was also
small
going to
scale
say
stuff.
that sometimes that's the reason why I'm sometimes find myself more attracted to outsiders,
Yeah,
outsider artists, is because of, I guess that's partly also would have been involved with rejecting Radiohead because everyone else was listening to them. So it's like,
yeah,
right, okay, I felt like as if I'd just been like a mass herd sort of thing.
yeah, 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 exactly.
And like, like, kind of like in the Blur songs, like, but I could follow the herds down to Greece sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah,
I think, but I'm lucky to feel like getting to work again with one of my favourite outsider artists, and it's a guy that you absolutely love as well, which is
yeah,
Joff.
yeah,
Oh man, I have so much love for that guy.
yeah. He's really a total hero. He's really great. Such a good example of a human being and artist. Everything he makes is just so. How does he make it so good? How does he do
Yeah,
it?
and he did it so quickly as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've never. I don't think I've. I don't think I've ever found out how long it takes him to do things. But yeah, he
Uh,
seems like a very natural, sort of
yeah,
swift drawer. Anyway, like I
it's like,
imagine that films take ages, but
yeah. I imagine the thing is that with his energy, we get a lot done.
yeah, great, because because of all the working or the collaboration that you're doing with him on
Also,
projects.
we've given ourselves like that with a lot of the projects that we've done,
Hmm.
we've been given a very short time period,
Yeah,
and so we've been given like a space of a month to like write, direct, animate the whole thing, sort of thing.
yeah, that's good. I guess it is. It's the classic case of the constraints being
Yeah,
really a positive influence on the art. You sort of, okay, these are the limits. We work with this, and then we
yeah,
get it done.
yeah.
Yeah,
And then also the thing with like someone like him, I find him really empathetic as well.
yeah. I think
But,
he's got amazing human insight skills.
yeah,
Really deep.
I very much agree with you. It's like how he makes it, how he doesn't. It's like really weird. So like I can certainly sympathise with him on this because he struggles with receiving praise, but whilst
Right.
also like
It is
dealing
hard.
well with like a lot of people in sometimes in quite strange situations or like kind of I don't know how to explain it really.
Yeah.
Like kind of like who basically would go on a bus trip together and who would basically make friends with everyone on the bus
Yeah.
and like everyone at wherever whichever place because of his this is like his continuous like almost semi childlike fascination.
And just super generous, like being that open
Yeah,
and friendly to people is such a generous skill that most people don't have. Most people have this sort of doubt or fear or hesitation.
yeah.
It's a real
And
gift.
I mean, like the other thing which I remember having to prompt him a few times because it'd be like, oh, my book's not very good. It's very boring. No, it'd be like, shut up.
Well done. Yeah,
That's
you can sort him out.
yeah, well, basically, I'd be like, shut up. this person in the Observer, which is like an international rated book, is like one of the best books that she'd read that year.
Yeah. I mean, it is. It's like his books are the best books that people are gonna read in a year. But at the same time, I can understand that. Like, it's funny because like big press, big acclaimed
Yeah,
press comments. On one level, it is impressive, but on the other level, it's just one person that's saying their opinion, and it's great if it's a positive opinion.
yeah.
But sometimes it kind of means more to us what people
Kind
around
of
us
the
think of it.
expectation on sort of thing.
Yeah, but there's no denying that in Joff's case,
Yeah,
his the art he makes is exceptionally. It's to such a high standard. It's so well done, and with a gift as well. It's not just like there's that combination of like working hard and
yeah.
being disciplined, but just having a natural talent that most people just don't have.
And I'd see him basically turn up at gigs with his sketch pad kind of balanced on his arm, sort of thing.
Yeah,
And he basically wouldn't just draw the band; he'd draw not just one person of the band. Because usually, if like he's like one of my biggest inspirations when it comes to like live gig drawing was
yeah,
seeing him. You know, especially like 10, 12, 15 years ago, sort of thing.
yeah.
Like they turn up with like his little sketchbook, who in about nanoseconds he'd do all the band members, and then he'd
So
do the
great,
audience as well.
and it's such a good practice to do that. It's such a good exercise
Mm.
in looking and listening and being in the moment. I think it's
Also,
really good.
also his drumming style as well is incredible.
Yeah, best drummer in town, best
Yeah,
drummer in a
so,
few towns.
yeah. Well, it's also the most enthusiastic.
It's so great. It's such a joy to watch someone flying at what they're good at,
Mm.
watching someone like flying in their element.
Yeah,
And he's a good example of that when he's drumming.
I
It's
feel
just a
really.
real
It's
pleasure.
a bit like sort of feeling really proud of some of my friends, really.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
good. It's good
actually
to
like
feel proud of
even if it's
friends.
like fans like idols sort of thing who've like really hit the big time in a big way. I
Yeah,
feel really proud in order to be like considered to be their friends sort of thing. So I just look at their
yeah.
achievements and go like, wow,
It's a real pleasure and it feels a real privilege to sort of see someone excel at what they do and be recognised for how good they are at what they do
yeah.
as well. It's really heartwarming.
I mean, I found it like kind of admittedly really heartwarming whenever I get shout outs,
Yeah.
and and slightly overwhelming and flattering. So I do sometimes react in a bit of a job way.
And
You know, like
it's good that you deserve the shout outs. More shout
yeah,
outs for Jeff,
but
I
then
say.
like the job like hi,
Yeah. It is hard when you're not in control
yeah.
of all of the eyes that are on you all of a sudden. It's a weird feeling.
I'd say
It's
thank you very much for the really flattering shout out you gave me at the end of the road, though.
Oh, that's all right.
That's
I mean,
really
it
beautiful.
wasn't flattering. It's just, it's true.
Yeah, but no, but it was really beautiful. But that's the main thing that it's sometimes it's just acknowledging those sorts of things.
Yeah. But as someone on stage, it's just really great to see people that you recognize and like in the audience and that are
Mm,
making a really positive contribution to what's happening in the room. The energy and the
yeah,
communication
or the
is
fields as it turns out to be.
all the field. Yeah, right. I say room. In the broader
Yeah,
sense.
but actually I tend to find that I mean like that the environment does also impact on the emotion as well.
Yeah.
Like you see someone like End of the Road, which is really in a really beautiful space, or like Eden Project. Like
Yeah.
I went to see. I've been there twice to see. I saw Sigur Rós there play there once with the full orchestra, which
Okay.
was amazing.
Great.
And I saw PJ Harvey play there.
Jeff, I was at that gig. I just called you Joff because we just talked about Joff. But
Yeah,
I was at that gig with Elbow.
yeah. That was
Yeah.
Elbow. No, this was years later.
Oh, okay, okay.
This was like when
Different,
she.
a different one of the very many PJ Harvey gigs at Eden
Yeah, hey,
Project.
yeah.
Oh, I was
Well,
really excited then. I
She
thought we
played
were
there
at the same
twice because she
gig.
played there 2000 and when they started doing the shows. I think it was 2011. She did the
Okay,
first series. Then she did one in I think it's about 2016,
okay,
2014.
right,
And it was literally like the day after Glastonbury, like a couple of days after Glastonbury sort of thing. But it was an
Yeah.
amazing show. It was like
Yeah.
her with Jenny Beth from Savages was playing solo support,
Great.
and she's got a great voice. Jenny Beth
Excellent.
has, and it's just like I definitely got the sense that she was very nervous. I think it's the first time in years that she played actually on her own.
And it's an impressive, it's quite intimidating, that sort of setup. And the
But it's
Eden
also really,
project as well, it's like,
yeah,
it's an amazing setting. So, like, it can be a great experience, but I can also imagine as a performer it being a bit where
it's
you want to do
incredible
a good job.
space. Also, the sound in there as well. The actual, the actual natural acoustics, just like you can literally feel every note.
Yeah.
And that's I think that it's those kind of spaces sometimes make the gig more than the gig.
Yes.
So like seeing like Sigur Rós with all the lasers kind of going up into the trees, and like you can see is it Yonsei just absolutely almost breaking down like right at the end in absolute tears.
Wow.
Just because like he's like, this is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, the one artist which I'd love to have seen there, which I didn't get tickets for, would have been Björk.
Wow. Yes, that
Played there
would
a
have
couple of
been
years
an
ago.
incredible gig to be at.
Yeah, especially also the tour that she was doing at the time.
Which tour was it?
It was it's her last album, so it's like so she had this whole thing where she had inflatable like kind of lotus flowers,
Okay.
like a 13-piece all female flute orchestra, like flute section.
Ideal
Um,
Eden project
yeah, exactly. You know
scenario.
what I mean? Yeah, the thing is, because like her whole, so I actually found that a lot of her songs are about nature and about like the build up and whether it's like affecting mental health or whether it's like kind of and actually dealing even from like quite from the off, she's dealing actually with some quite heavy subjects which
Yeah.
people in pop, especially in pop music, weren't actually really dealing with.
Yeah, people sort of shy away from it, but yeah, she dares.
Yeah,
Björk is someone who dares.
because for me, she's my Radiohead. She's like
Yeah.
one of those people which I see that loads of people were drawn to her and stuff like that, especially during the 90s. But then also, I think she's also someone who's continuously pushed the boundaries.
Yeah. Such an important artist. And I
Um,
feel like the influence had on modern music, most people don't even realize.
I
Like,
know.
I feel like there are acts that are directly influenced by her that don't even realize that they're directly influenced by what she's done because
Yeah,
it's come via another band or something. I mean, it's so huge what she's done for
also, even
modern
like
music.
back in the 90s, I remember like my auntie giving me a cassette tape of debut.
Yeah,
Like
that
obviously
album is
like
amazing. It's
that's a great record.
incredible.
I mean, human behavior.
Yeah, and
It's
just all the strings. I mean, it's just so great. And the fact that she, was recording in the toilet of a club, like she's such a pioneer.
I've got a few friends who've got like certain stories about her.
Oh yeah.
Like or like they like one of my friends who's working with T Junctions,
Yeah.
and so they had an artist called Klein was
Okay.
supporting Björk, who's on T Junctions books sort of thing, and
Great.
so he was like managing her, and also that because they're doing the gig. After the gig, they got taken on a midnight tour of the Eden Project.
Okay, because that was for that actual gig, for
Yeah,
the Eden Project gig.
yeah, and so like also Charlotte Church was amongst them as well.
Great.
Like and Charlotte
She's a
Church
good
was
egg.
there with the kids, and the kids were going, "Mummy, mummy, mummy, why don't you sing to the flowers?"
Oh,
So she started to sing this "God Only Knows" by the Beach Boys.
okay.
I think it was like yeah, and so like they're like there watching Charlotte Church singing to the flowers, whilst like with the with Klein, and they said it was like one of those kind of like really beautiful but really surreal moments.
Yep, very, very memorable
I
moment
think
by the
all of them,
sounds of
I
things.
think they all ended up joining in as well.
Great.
But that's the thing is that she's definitely someone I'd love to try and have a chat with at some point. Although I'll probably be too scared.
Well, I bet. Well, it would be good if it could happen somehow, wouldn't it? You'd probably be all right in the moment.
Yeah, probably. I'll
Yeah.
probably be like Pete. I think my attitude more recently has become like less like, oh, maybe, 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 maybe. I think that. I've noticed that with me, with my attitudes become like, especially because of the past 5 years, some of my achievements,
Hmm.
I've been like, right, fuck it, let's go in the deep end.
Yeah, just give it
Let's
a
see what
go.
happens. Yeah,
Yeah, it's true. It's a good attitude to harness when you can.
yeah. But anyway, Kate, I think I'm going to leave it there.
Okie
Thank you
doke.
so much for being wonderful.
No probs. Thank you for being wonderful, Jeff. It's really nice to chat to you, and I feel really lucky because I've got to chat to you twice in the past week.
I know. The thing is, the reason why I didn't necessarily always chat to you sometimes after gigs is because of sometimes not knowing always how to approach you or how to approach people.
Gigs are weird as well because like not everyone feels like chatting after a gig. Like when I'm
Yeah,
watching a gig, I quite often just feel like not chatting afterwards. But when I'm playing a gig, I
yeah.
often feel like chatting. You know,
I
it's just
think also
there
the
are
thing
no rules.
is that sometimes when I see a group of people chatting, I don't know how to approach people.
Yeah, me too,
And I
man.
feel as if I'm
It's not.
encroaching on them.
Yeah, it's not easy how to know how to approach it. But always come and say hi, Jeff. It's
Yeah,
great. It's
man.
always a pleasure to see you.
Let me see, Kate. That was
Yeah.
absolutely wonderful.
Thanks again for an excellent chat.
Yeah, that was wonderful. This time
Keep
I
up.
actually got recorded.
Yeah.
But it's
Woo
actually going
woo.
up. Well, hey!
Mastering the technology as we go.
Yeah, definitely. We'll be masters of the universe next, won't we?
We will. We
Like
will.
He-Man.
Yeah. But yeah,
Sorry.
thanks again, Jeff. It's been really nice to chat. Keep
Yeah,
up the excellent work.
I will do. You too, Kate. Look after
See you
yourself.
soon. See you back in reality soon.
Yeah, man. That's
Okay.
been wonderful.
Lots of love. Bye bye.